Ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. Ba-da, ba-da. Ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. Ba-da-da, ba-ba-da. Here's the solution. You cannot walk around here getting angry at women. That's what these old men want you to do. Proof of this, these old men have been angry for 2 and 3 decades of their life. You got YouTubers that are 70, going on 75 years old, 60, 50, still mad at women. And they've been pushing it on the internet for at least over 10 years. They want to poison a lot of you guys with hate. My solution since 2007 has always been the same: wolf away. 20% of these women are great. 20% of these women are outstandingly great. The evil 80%, you dudes have been protecting them way too long. The evil 80% is what these old men are complaining about, but these old men were protecting them. Even when you look at YouTube, look at how many of these older guys over 20, over 36 years old have invited Nala, Cynthia G, Crystalline Carson. They have nurtured all of this anti-male hate. This isn't the women creating a lot of this stuff. It's the dudes responding back to this stuff. But in the middle is the good 20% of women, maybe even 30% of women who are just good women. They not on all this anti-male stuff. But here's the problem. You dudes are so busy trying to damage the image of black women that you forget about the 20-30% of women who are who are not trying to create problems. You're so busy trying to follow this gynocracy round table and circle jerk for the gynocracy that you forget to actually be a man. Protect the 20-30% from the evil 80%. You got to do that. You as a guy have to understand 20-30% of these women are great. It's the evil 80%. But guess what? You guys keep helping the evil 80%. Again, here on YouTube, look at how many YouTubers have helped the evil 80% of women. Look at what has happened. It's these dudes who realize, these old men who realize they can make profit off you by keeping you angry at women. You should not even care about women that much to where you're angry at women all the time. It's simple. Go deal with the 20% of women who are not anti male. Protect the 20% of women who are not anti male. Because let's keep it 100. When I look at all the people who hate some of the women out here, let's say the Women's Breakdown, Jessica X, and a couple others, why are you hating women who are protecting male image? I don't get it. I don't get it. We're not even smart enough. I mean, whether you like these people or not, Women's Breakdown, Jessica X, what I'm trying to say is there's bigger enemies against black men. The Cynthia G's of the world, the Chrissies of the world, the Crystalline Carrisons of the world. But we're not putting energy into that. Gentlemen, 20-30% of the women are great. It's the evil 80% you got to separate from. You can no longer coddle the evil 80% of women. When they get in trouble, walk past them. When they having issues, walk past them and walk past any men who try to help the evil 80%. I only help mammies, pick-me's, and women who are male identified. Those are the only ones I help. I will help the male identified women every time. I will help the pick-me's every time. I will help the mammies every time. The other evil 80%, no. A woman said to me recently, "You don't like black women." I said, "I don't like the evil 80%, and I'm not going to risk myself to help the evil 80%. I'm just not." Because part of this black community, let's be honest, for those people who are listening, part of this black community, the problem has always been we keep helping the women who want to destroy us. And we keep neglecting the 20% of women who don't want to destroy us because the 20% of women don't look as hot as the 80%. We got to stop that. We got to stop that. We have to stop that because the 20% of women are for and down for black males. But we can't be joining these old hateful men on the internet bashing all women. We can't join that. We got to be a lot more strategic than that. We have to have a lot better brain power than that. We're getting nowhere being angry just to be angry. That's not getting you nowhere. That's not getting you nowhere. And it's showing that you're not a adult type of man if you're just attacking women just to attack women. Attack the 80%. Leave the 20% alone. 20% of these women are great. 20% of these women are great. Nobody can deny that. But the problem is we're lumping the 20% in with the evil 80%. And the old men, they're creating that problem. The old men, they're the ones who are trying to stop us from moving forward. That's what's going on. The dudes who have failed, there's so many dudes on YouTube who are divorced, working at Uber, janitors. I mean, this is crazy. How do you know? Because I've been around long enough, and dudes are like, "Yeah, I I drive Uber." Oh, well, bruh, it's been 5 years. You're still driving Uber. There's just so much stuff. There's just so much stuff. So much. So that's really what's going on. We have to take responsibility. We have to take responsibility for the 20% of women who love and appreciate black males. But we can't be responsible for the 80% anymore. And like I said, when people say, "Well, you don't like black women," no, the evil 80%, I don't want to be involved with. 20%, great with me. We got to start being strategic about the things we say. I don't have hate for women. Peace out to you, WW. I don't have hate for women at all. But like I tell you guys, these old men, look at David Carroll. David Carroll is almost 75 years old now. 70, almost 75 years old. Come on, man. Come on, dude. You've been the same message for 15 years. It's crazy. It's crazy. Can't move on. Can't develop nothing. You don't know what the guy does for a living. You never see his house. It's we're just in a crazy space, everybody. It's just a very crazy space. 20% of women are great. 20% of women are outstanding. The evil 80%, fellas, y'all been protecting them too long. You bring them on your channel, the Cynthia G's. Hey, what's going on, Dwayne? You bring them on your channel. You bring the Cynthia G's on your channels. You have all these arguments with these females. See, it's fun to make a dollar. It's fun to make a dollar. But the reality is there's too many women trying to create chaos amongst blacks. Of course, 20-30% of women are great. 20% of women are great. What's going on, African millennial? 20% of women are great. But we just got too many verbally trying to create chaos. And then you guys want to protect these women who create chaos. I'm telling you, don't spend your time being angry at women. Spend your time protecting the 20% of women who are good. Spend your time protecting the 20% of women who are great. The 20% of women who love black males, want to be around black males. That's what you should be focused on. Even if she's not cute, she's going to protect you against the evil 80%. Listen to the wisdom, man. Don't listen to these old men who are out here that just want you to be mad just to be mad. They making money off keeping you mad. Obsidian makes money off keeping people mad. BGS makes money off keeping people mad. So many other these people make money off keeping you young guys mad. But here's the solution. Focus on the 20%. I know with Wee Wee's out there, he knows a couple of girls who ain't attractive. They might even be fat, but they willing to go against the evil 80% of women to protect WW. That's who you got to bond with, man. You got to be more strategic. You can't just be hating these chicks just to be hating these chicks. Dwayne said, I can accept that criticism. I mean, because it's a valid thing, it's intellectual. We got way too many dudes. BGS is what, 65 now, 68? It's fucking ridiculous, man. These people are every year they keep the chaos going. Repeating whose talking points? I never repeated their talking points. I was here before they even got here. I've been here since 2007. They just got here in 2011, 2012. So I'm not repeating anything they said. I'm not repeating at all. But what I'm trying to say is, man, we're starting to be complicit. We're starting to be complicit with these old ass men, dudes who ain't really achieved much in life, and they're trying to keep dudes angry. You can't even create nothing for your son. You constantly angry at women. You haven't even bought your son a house yet because you're constantly angry at women. And we come to the internet just so we can get angry at chicks. We can't even focus on helping our son with a chess club. We can't even focus on getting our son in private school or a math tutor. You know why? Because we want to go circle around with some other dudes and be mad at chicks. And I'm telling you, it's not about being mad at chicks. Go find 20, 30% of females are good females. Focus on them. The evil 80% walk past them. Walk past them. You guys put your penis into some of the worst women. Let's be honest about this. Let's be honest about this. There's a girl in Africa right now who's ready to listen. She got booty, she got breasts. She need, but you just gotta be a leader and get her on point. But in order to do that, you got to put yourself on point as a guy. This is just real. This is honest. Sometimes I think you guys don't want the honesty of maturity. Stop listening to these old men who have failed in life, dudes that on a second and third divorce. Stop listening to that shit. Stop. I don't even care if you listen to me. What I'm telling you is listen to somebody who has achieved things. Listen to people who have made things happen in life. Because black man, we about to have 11 million immigrants here, and they ain't all from Africa. Let me say it again. We're about to have 11 million immigrants come here, and they ain't all from Africa. Your wages are going to go down. Your wages are going to drop dramatically. Even in my industry, they have dropped by $5 already. When they get a flood of immigrants here, your wages are going to drop down by $10. You guys think I'm joking? You got way bigger things to be focused off than women. But focus on the 20% of women who are good. Focus on the 20% of women who are down for black men. That's what you need to do. The evil 80%, you will never change them because you have been protecting them too long. Do you realize a black woman in Italy looks better than a black woman here and makes more money, but she gets more persecuted in Italy than she do here? Most black women here in America cannot survive outside of the USA because there's repercussions for their mouth. Look at women who are moving to Africa. They got to be more docile and more humble. They got to smile all the time because the people out there ain't trying to hear that. You guys got to start understanding that. Having these old ass men make y'all angry. How am I too controversial? I'm saying something that's intelligent, Dwayne. I'm saying something that is reasonable. I'm saying something that saves young black men's lives. You can't get caught up in all the anger these old men want you to have because it's not logical. It's just not logical. I have survived on my own for over 20 years because I don't follow the Schlitz malt liquor bull type of dudes. It's not that I hate these dudes. I'm from the hood. You cannot follow these dudes to death, man. Look, let's be honest. Let's be honest for everybody listening right now. If you really, really, really needed help, if you really, really, really needed help right now, how many people on YouTube could you probably reach out to get $1,000? I'll wait. Seriously, let's make it real. If you was really, really, really stuck, how many black males on YouTube could you, if you only had 3 phone calls to make, 3 phone calls, your your son is about to die, he's at the hospital and you $1,000 short. Your son is about to die. He at the hospital and you $1,000 short. All your friends ain't got money. All your family ain't can't help you out. And so you turn to YouTube for whatever reason. Name 3 people who's able to put something together. I can only name 4. Man of Tomorrow, me, Dr. D. Durrell, and maybe O'Shea. Everybody else ain't living like that. Oh, and Kevin. And Kevin, but I don't think Kevin would do it. But everybody else ain't living like that, and enough to give you 1,000 and not miss it for your son. Some of the YouTubers y'all follow, Coach Adams, Donovan, they ain't feeling y'all like that. They're here to make money from y'all, and ain't nothing wrong with that. But here's the thing, fellas. Some of y'all been mad at these women for way too long. It's been 10, 15 years. What has David Carroll done with his life? I gave the solution earlier, African millennial. I started off with the solution. I gave the solution before I started the critique. I always do that. The solution is simply you have to focus on the 20% of women who are down for men, and you have to protect them from the evil 80%. Let me say it again. Solution is you have to focus on the 20% of women who are down for black men. You see Erica Williams, the financial lady. She kind of chubby, she kind of short, she ain't really got no neck. But guess what? You got to protect her. You got to protect her from the very nice looking female on the other side who's trying to promote hate for black males. You guys help too many women. You help Cynthia G. You help Crystal Carrison. You guys constantly help her, provided they had it for sure. Yeah, yeah, provided they had it. Ain't too many dudes out here who will really do it for. And that's how you got to start looking at things, man. Because I feel sorry for a lot of you guys, man, because some of you guys are going to realize that some of the dudes here on YouTube, they really are not doing well financially outside of YouTube. Good morning, Cecile. They really are not doing well outside of YouTube. You got to protect the 20% of women who love black men, and you got to protect those 20% of women from the evil 80%. Because the evil 80%, they're attacking daughters, they're attacking girls, they're attacking guys, and you men are helping them. If anybody disagrees, click the link, come over, come on up and explain. The link is in the chat. I'll put it in again. But that's the solution. Some of you guys are joining these dudes and you getting angry at these women. No, the evil 80%, you are not going to change them. But the 20% of women are great. You guys got to get away. This community, once all these immigrants comes here, the women, the evil 80% of women are going to scream for your help because they're going to get replaced like all outdoors. Because the evil 80% of women don't realize that all these other women, they don't care about feminism. All these other women, they don't care about sticking together as a woman. All these other women care about their flag. Their flag. Cecilia, where are you from? Where are you originally from, Cecilia? Are you from America? Dwayne, are you from America? See, this is what we got to understand. If you guys want solutions in this black community, your time is running out. By 2023, there's going to be so many immigrants here, it's going to drive the pay rate down. You're going to lose money. I see it already happening. And women are going to be driven into sexual entertainment and low level man jobs. It's happening already. And the guys, your sons, are going to have to resort to crime because there's not going to be nothing left. Alabama, ADOS. Shout out to you, Cecilia. Uh, and see, look, you got people, you got women who want the protection, fellas. 20% of them want the protection, but you got to be leaders. You got to be American millennial. Click the link. Come on up. I'll talk with you about marriage. It's no problem. Marriage is a great thing, but you got to be strategic about what you're doing. Marriage is nothing to play with. You can't be trying to figure it out. That's one of the reasons why I haven't got married yet. I'm looking, but it has to be a strategic connection. You can't just do it just to do it. There's this young lady I deal with. She's a manager. I can develop that. Shoot, I like Naima Buckner in Philly. She's a former manager. I can develop that. You got to go after women who are already developed, and women, you got to go after dudes who are already developed. Mr. Millennial, what are your thoughts on what I've said? And then we'll talk about marriage.
Um, I I'm not really understanding what you're saying. I know you're obviously your title is saying that 80% of Black women are evil, right? And only the 20% are good, I guess, to even deal with. But okay, so what's your proposition on that? Are you saying that Black men should avoid the 80%?
It's even greater than that. Sometimes things that I say are very complex. They end up coming to, like when you ask most of my fans, they'll tell you most of the things I predicted have already happened. So here's my prediction. I'll answer your question. My prediction is that because when you go outside of America, women have it way harder than what they have in the USA as Black women. Way harder. Some women had to join the military. They got it so bad. Okay. Darker Indian women say this all the time, darker French women, so on and so forth. Uh, Women from UK. So 80% of women are attacking girls for not hating men. Is that fact or is that not
Oh
fact?
no, that's definitely fact.
Okay.
Definitely fact.
80% of women are creating horrific negative names for any woman that doesn't agree on hating males. Isn't that true?
Absolutely.
Pick me, mammy, that wasn't created by no man. Okay. Uh 80% of these women, when it comes to the color issue, I understand how women feel about color. I totally understand. But I cannot celebrate everybody 24/7 all the time because outside of America, no dark skinned women get celebrated. Isn't that true?
Absolutely correct. Which is why
So,
skin bleaching is on top.
right. So, percentage wise, the women here got it way better, but it's not good enough. You're
I
not
can't
going to,
believe I'm saying this, but I agree with you on that.
right. So, you as a guy, you cannot fix a person. Let's take women out of it. You can't fix a person who's constantly creating wars. I can't go over here and your own daughters are not being pulled into the positions that you work. Am I incorrect?
Correct.
So your daughters got to fend for themselves. But guess what? 20% of women, maybe even 30, don't have these problems because they're not male hating. They understand Pookie and Ray Ray is not a dating option. They don't mind the suit and tie guy. Doesn't mean he's perfect, but it's a better option than that knucklehead tank top Tony. Am I incorrect?
No.
What are your thoughts?
I agree with you 100% on that. I see that a lot. Um, I understand that it's COVID, so obviously a lot of people's lives right now are online. Literally, they're not going out much, and it's kind of dangerous because
I'm taking my
I am
woman out.
seeing a lot
Wait,
of
wait.
women that
I'm
are.
taking my woman out. I'm doing something real strategic.
Mhm.
We're gonna buy lunch tomorrow, and I'm gonna take her to the pier. We're gonna pick out a little bench and patio, dress warm. I'm gonna bring an umbrella for any of the light, and we're gonna sit out there and chill. So a inventive, mature man don't have these problems. But go ahead.
Oh yeah, no. I was just saying that I see a lot of women just constantly hating on black men and constantly talking about black men, and it's really exhausting.
It's profitable.
It is.
It's profitable. You got to understand. I've been around since 2007. We did not have all this hate online. This hate started when this one lady named Christina was trying to push her MTV show, taking black women to Rome to find love. And she came on and she was bashing, bashing, bashing. And a bunch of dudes didn't even say nothing. because they was like, oh, she's tripping. And then Crystalline Harrison came, and then some other uh, 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 Ethiopian girl came bashing black women. Now, when the Ethiopian woman came bashing black women, all of a sudden they felt like, why you black dudes aren't defending us? Wait a minute, hold on. You got these two women over here bashing us. We ain't saying nothing. You need to handle that yourself. It's a woman on woman. But that was the first time we heard why you ain't defending us. So I got to defend you against a woman who's talking about you? Wow. What are your thoughts?
Well, all of this, I don't know. It just seems to stem in America because I used to live in Europe. That problem wasn't there. And now I'm in Canada. I still don't see it. I was in the UK as well. It's starting to creep up in there a little bit, but it's not as much as it is in America. I have no idea why. Do you think that the system has something to do with it, or it's just
Well, it's the white woman. The white woman taught the black woman here in America to attack black men. Let me quantify that in history. So why is it you don't see any of the suffrage movement white women in a picture with black women? You ever find that weird?
yes?
They refuse to take pictures with them.
Oh shoot.
Ladies, this is a safe space for you to come up. So if you want to come up, you can be heard. Ain't nobody gonna bite your head off or interrupt you. You can click the link. But why is that though, AM? Why can you not find one picture with a white woman holding a sign with a black woman?
Because I suppose it wasn't. It was just supposed to be a white woman thing.
Even worse, they use the black woman, and the black
Okay.
woman willingly went along with being used. It was really a lot of younger women, and they went along with being used. You don't see a lot of older black women in those feminist black photos.
Oh
It's
no,
these,
they were at home with their husbands.
right, right, with their families. We had during the time that these black well, let's dig into this, especially since we got some women in the chat room. During this time, black marriages were triple white marriages. Why would you need to join this? Why would you need to join if you're already defeating white marriages? The only thing you didn't have as a black woman, you didn't have the jobs that white women had when they did have jobs. AM?
Yes, I agree with you on that.
Well, what part do you disagree with me? Because people will think that I paid you to.
Oh no, no. Well, okay.
While you're thinking that, while you're thinking of that, let me answer this question that Cerise said. She says, right, people don't realize how serious marriage is. Marriage is strategic, ladies and gentlemen. A black man that's out here battling the world, battling the white man, he's not a hustle guy. You guys are having problems with hustle guys.
Try telling that to the younger generation.
Right, right. You got because living in Europe and maybe Canada, uh older established dudes, it's called the May December romance. Those dudes are getting sought after. Those older dudes, you might not like them. Tania might not like them, but guess what? This girl over here, she's like, I'm straight, and you like, oh, that creepy old man. It doesn't matter what you feel about him because when you see that older woman with that young guy, you not upset. You like, you go, girl. So it's like we're playing this game with each other here in America. To what end goal? It can't be for the children. The microphone is yours, AM.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I I usually don't even feel comfortable having these conversations about black women because it's like you get attacked. You know what I'm saying? Like when I literally ask, especially women that are younger, when I literally ask them, well, what's Megan the Stallion, for instance, offering you? Like how is she helping you in your plight? Other than telling you that you need to keep messing with these thugs and these dudes. You know, you already have money, so you can just, sleep around with them, and then it's like in 10 years, and you complain that there's no good men, there's no good men out there. Like the accountability on women's perspective, I feel is lacking, and it's not even something that people can be honest about nowadays. It's cool to talk about black men 24/7, but you as a woman, how are you controlling your situation? How are you making sure that you're not laying up with these dudes that literally have nothing to offer you? You know, it's just
Absolutely. Let me speak real quick about the something to offer. Ladies, I understand suit and tie guys are not perfect. I understand you had one cousin or 10 cousins that had bad suit and guy situations. But here's the one thing you can count on: you have 60% less of a problem with your financial issues. The rest is up to you to pick a decent dude. 60% of your problem is covered. If y'all separate, guess what? This ain't a big. If homeboy do something wrong to you and y'all okay, you got but tank top Tony, baseball cap Brian, what are they doing for you? Most of your complaint as women come from tank top Tony, somebody that works all the time. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. I got a gym at my house, but he got penis game and he work out all the time, but he don't
oh my
even
god.
know. But he don't even know what a tax form is. He don't know anything about a 1099. He gets confused when you tell him what's his accountant's name. Isn't some of this y'all fault? 20% of ladies don't have this issue because 20% of ladies are focused on a different caliber of man. AM, what are your thoughts?
Oh no, I completely agree with you. Um, you were on Omega's panel, right? I actually speak to a lot of people. Like, do you remember Taylor?
Yeah.
People like her. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to, you know, change our networks, so to speak, change our environments, speak to different types of people. I feel like a lot of women, especially, they just settle for whoever's in their neighborhood. And if you're not living in a good neighborhood, then the
Oh,
pickings are quite slim. So you just go ahead and settle, and then, oh man, it's
here
a
go here
mess.
here here goes a CA solution though.
Yeah.
If you're living in a funny neighborhood, I want you to start going on Eventbrite. Tell all your girlfriends go on Eventbrite and start getting tickets to the higher end events. You will bump into higher quality men. Men who are not afraid of a $60 ticket, an $80 ticket, or a $100 ticket. Here's another solution: you go to a concert you like. During the intermission, walk up to the front row where the guys are at who got the higher price tickets and ain't stressing. Simply say, "Oh, I thought you were somebody I knew. What is your name?" He tells you his name, says, "Oh, okay. I'm AM. Maybe I'll see you again." If he don't chase you or make himself known, that's on him. More women need to start being coy. Introduce yourself a little bit. I mean, smile and walk away. a dude who ain't a boy. Matter of fact, let's dig into that. I'm sorry, I'm jumping on so. There's too many of y'all dating boys, older boys. I don't get why y'all like
Agreed.
older boys. I'm sorry, you got the microphone. I got to take a pause. You got the microphone, AM.
Oh, yeah, I was just agreeing with what you're saying. Um, I don't know what it is.
Because when Taylor came over, she was like, older men are cool and blah, 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 blah. Look, check this out. You get with an older guy, most of them are established. Most of them. I mean, you can listen to your girlfriend talk about, but she'll be the same one wanting to ride with you. She'll be the same one to want to kick it at your house. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. I got older women who I know who try to hit on me, and I'm like, you too loud. Your lifestyle doesn't fit mine. You got these two dogs that you can't control. Nah, I'm good, sweetheart. I'm good. I'm good. And it's not that nobody hates you. It's simply that it's harder to deal with 80% of women.
I agree with you on that. Like,
Which part do you disagree with?
I wish I could find more that I could disagree with you
Well, let's see
on.
if NC Worker disagrees. NC Worker, you're a manager. You're a manager of a pharmacist. You are a married gentleman. Tell me, sir, what did I get wrong?
Well, I'm not married.
Oh, okay. I thought you were married. My fault.
No, I'm not. It's cool. But pretty much, yeah, you're right. As a matter of fact, I said in the chat that as a man, you need to have a plan, and a plan not just for you and whoever you're trying to be with, but a plan for just for yourself and where you want to be in life. Too
Hmm.
often, too often, we as men, we put too much value in having a woman as opposed to just have being a man with a plan.
And
And
I
that
tell
plan
you
can
guys
actually,
all the and I tell you guys all the time, don't put your value in your woman. Your value should be in your son. Really, it should. Your value should be in your son because your son protects you and this woman when y'all get old. Your daughter protects you and this woman when y'all get old. Too many dudes, you putting all this value, and this is what women, when they get lonely, what do they end up doing? Relying on their daughter. My sister right now is using her daughter, who's going on 38, as her roommate for
Oh
the
no.
past for the past 30 years.
wow.
And when I talked to my niece, I was like, niece, because I'm closer to age than my niece. And I said, niece, you got to live your life. She said, yeah, but this is my mom, uncle. I was like, I was like, Nick, I mean, I've been watching my niece since I was a 7-year-old kid. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not that far removed apart. But I was like, Jesus Christ, man, my sister's just using you at this point. Crazy. AM, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I honestly just think that a lot of men also, as you mentioned, are focusing on the wrong things. And honestly, just get your paper up and and you'll have a whole bunch of options. In terms of women, they're also focusing on the wrong things as well. Um, I do agree that I think it's a case of women trying to be like men in this part of the world, and it's really, really weird. I really can't
Hmm.
understand it. And then the other thing is, as you mentioned earlier, um, instead of the older women like sharing these secrets with the younger women, they just perpetuate their same mistakes on these younger women. That's what really
That's
disappoints
all
me.
it is. Yeah, that's all it is. NC Worker, I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I want to make this one point. Cecile says we are in a gig economy. We're actually not in a gig economy. That's going to backfire on you, Cecile. One, we're not in a gig economy. When you look at how everybody's making money, let's be honest, it only started in 2011, 2012. We really haven't even established a proof of concept. We haven't even come to we haven't even come to a 10-year model yet. And look at how many people are losing jobs, losing the money they did make. You got tech people who can't get hired beyond 30, 36. It's not what it is. What I believe it is in the gig economy, I think we have people willing to lie and create chaos for profit. That's what we have on the white side, the black side, the Latin side. People are willing to create something to make 20 people unemployed, and that same person who created it is rewarded with $4 million or $10 million. But guess what? Within 20 years, they in the unemployment line too. It's a crazy thing. MC Worker, sorry to cut you off earlier. Go ahead, and then we'll go back to AM after you. Go ahead, MC Worker.
Thank you. No, you're fine. But yeah, I mean, too often men and women both, we allow ourselves to get in this mindset of the primal as far as the looks department, who gets who gets me aroused and who doesn't. And we allow that to dictate what type of outcome, or rather who we want to be with, as opposed to stepping back and looking, well, this person may not be a good fit for me. Let me look at this other person instead.
What are your thoughts on that, AM?
Well, I was raised that when it comes to the looks department, it's mostly just a men thing. Like men go after looks, but men should be able to do that after they establish themselves. And in terms of women, women really shouldn't be that worried about looks. But what I've seen is that women nowadays are getting more and more enamored by looks. And then they kind of just, okay, well, he looks fine. He has a six pack. He does this, he does that. But then they don't actually worry about, okay, this guy's character and things that as a woman, it's just more important for you to look in a partner. So that's what I was talking about earlier, where there seems to be kind of a reverse. There seems to be kind of a shift between the priorities that men and women should be looking for in a partner. And I'm seeing it more so on the women's side. Unfortunately, I'm not sure why.
Well, let me explain. And when I explain it, it's going to sound weird, but time will show you that I'm actually accurate. Women are new money people. Only started happening during the 80s. That's about 20, 25 years ago, maybe 30. Only started happening during the 80s. Women have just started coming into money. And because they're able to get these jobs that are lackadaisical and don't require a lot of physical effort. Key word, physical effort. But what ended up happening with those women? They started getting heavier. Those desk jobs started ruining a lot of them. Okay. Now here's the second part. Now that they got money and they're lackadaisical, now they can pick what type of penis they want. Nothing wrong with none of this. Nothing wrong with none of this. Because think about this, AM, you also MC Worker. Men were at these desk jobs and they got fat but you know what women did? They accepted that chubby dude. They accepted that out of shape because he was a hardworking person. He was bringing home the bacon, and that's how that culture was. But now the woman is the one with the issues and the money. But she expects the man to overlook her beauty and consistency. Now, I tell you, I don't care about the fat, to be honest, but you need to dress well. You need to dress colorful. The woman is supposed to be the artistic one in the couple. But you're the ones who always in pants, always sitting down because you're tired, but it's what you love to do. See, there's all these excuses. Nothing wrong with it. It's your choice. But guess what? Now she wants the guy to not only accept her as the out of shape guy, the way the guys used to be out of shape, but now she wants him, wait for it, to be the family man. Huh? But you did the picking. Well, that shouldn't matter. He's a man, but you did the picking. He didn't pick you. And the dude you pick, Tank Top Tony, I'm not knocking him, but what does he do to maintain this family life? See, matter of fact, I'm gonna get into that after. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tease it a little bit. Most black dudes who make money are stressed the hell out. So most dudes who hustle, they're not stressed out. They're detached from life. Let me say it again. Most dudes who make money are stressed out. Most dudes who hustle are detached from reality. They're constantly in the hustle. So when they make a mistake, when something don't go wrong in their life, all of a sudden the reality comes back, and now they're angry, physical, NC worker. Am I wrong?
You are correct. And also, too, sometimes in today's environment, some of the women that do the choosing want that man to also be in physical shape, even though they themselves aren't. So it's a very interesting dynamic and it's change, as you stated earlier. So it really boils down to is whether or not making the best choice, not just for you, but it's particularly, especially for your children.
AM, what are your thoughts?
I mean, no, I agree with you on what you said about a lot of men who work very hard tend to be detached. Men who hustle don't really have all this time to be doing all that. I agree with that. Now, with NC worker, is it true that most women go for guys who are physically in shape when they themselves aren't? I haven't really seen that.
It depends on the dynamics as far as it's a number of things. It depends on the region where you're at, what we're talking about. I mean, excuse me. It really just depends. Sometimes you will see women who are with the guy who may not be in shape, but sometimes you may see there's a lady who's out of shape with a man who's in shape. So again, it just really depends.
Let me
But
also
even
add.
as a
Let me also add to that. Sometimes AM might be seeing it where they both get together in the early part of their relationship, and NC worker may also be seeing the 5 year, 7 year model where she's more comfortable. He ain't really got nothing on but working out all the time, and it's a very unique thing. But go ahead, NC.
right. So yeah, so that's what I meant too as well. It depends on sometimes what region and where you're at, as well as where you're at in life. But I also wanted to add too, when a guy who has a hustle mentality, a lot of time it reflects in his wallet. And what I mean is, sometimes when guys who do a lot of contract work, it's good for that time being, but then afterwards he has to go out and go see if he can get another contract or do something else. So sometimes in between work, he's working out as opposed to actually working. So it can eventually become very inconsistent. Whereas his woman, who has a job that's continuous and who's not inconsistent because she's on a job that has benefits or a pension, things of that nature, she's continuously working.
There's a lot of probabilities going on. What are your thoughts, AM?
Well, my thoughts still go to the fact that at least most women in this part of the world, um, they tend to be, as you mentioned, the head honcho because they're usually making more than the man.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you'll see some women be with some men that are only filling that one desire, that one
True.
desire that they have. So it's good for the man who usually is making less anyway, so they're gaining financially or they're gaining from some other type of area as well. But those type of situations, I always think that they end badly anyways,
Yep.
because as soon as the man gets another opportunity, or as soon as the man finds somebody who's a little more finer, he's gonna leave, and then that makes the woman upset because wait, why
Right.
why are you going? I thought you loved me, or and all
No, you see, a lot of time people don't understand guys that are doing just enough. I call it the just enough guys. Guys who are doing just enough, unfortunately, and this ain't no hate to them because they don't even realize it. But when you're doing just enough and then you come into a situation where you can do better, now everything you got becomes either worthless or you start reconsidering everything. I mean, everything. So the problem is like when I used to work warehouse jobs, I've worked a lot of different jobs. I I worked a janitor job, I think, for half a year. And that was only as a second job. I wasn't no primary situation. But some people, it was their primary thing. And I just saw people give their life to that. Well, of course, when you're dealing with a woman who makes almost double what you're making as a janitor, you may like to work with your hands, but she goes to sit down at a receptionist desk every day and talks about what she gonna have for lunch. Spends another 2 hours talking about a show that she like, and then next thing you know, she off work. While you was up there running, you got to pack this order, you got to do this, you got to mop this floor, you can't leave yet because and you doing it for less than what she's doing. I'm not hating on you, but you need to be supervisor of the janitors, supervisor of the forklift operators. You're not gonna get, you're not gonna be able to feel what you need to feel dealing with a woman who is making money like that by accident, is what I call it. I'm gonna address this thing with WW and Accessory One. Uh, uh, Cesare says most American young women don't recognize the value in older men. And then WW says, I disagree. R. Kelly, perfect example. But R. Kelly has the mind of a 12-year-old. He can't even read WW. He can't literally read your name, WW. Let me say it again. R. Kelly can't read Little Wee Wee. He has the mind of a 12-year-old. He just happens to have money. It's the same thing I told people about Tupac. When Tupac came out here to the Bay Area, he was a goofy dude. He wasn't like the Tupac y'all saw. He was a goofy dude. I mean, nerd. What's up, AM? That's how he was. And he started hanging around some other people, Digital Underground, and he took on their personality. Totally different. Saspree one says, Lil Wee Wee, I mean, R. Kelly is a celebrity. He provides an upscale lifestyle. Look, here's the thing about anybody who's doing well. Let's use NC Worker for example. NC Worker has the ability to leave his job and go to a different manager outcome and get more money. Guess what? He might have to move to another county. He might have to move to another state. But the point is, he has potential. And what ladies don't realize is there are women out there who, and I'm thinking about these dark skinned Indians who are about to start flooding the market. You heard it here first. These dark skinned Indian women who can't get no play in Pakistan, they about to come out here and go after these black dudes hard. I've been approached by 2 over the past 5 years. They are going to come hard. The last Indian girl I had, she said, I always wanted a black man. Do you understand what I'm saying? I couldn't fade her because I just not really into Indian chicks like that, but they gonna come hard. AM, what are your thoughts?
Well, to address the comment that is on screen, yeah, most young American women don't see older guys. That definitely has something to do with this society, for sure, because
White
in other
women do.
parts of the world,
White women do. White women do. You can't tell these white women that they will go get them an older dude. Go ahead.
oh really? So how come
Oh
it's not
man.
like that?
Oh man. A white man. Look, name me an old white man, and I'll
Mhm.
show you a woman 15, 20 years younger.
Okay,
They
well, if
are.
you're talking about Hollywood, then yeah, you're
No,
right.
no, no. It's not even Hollywood. I'm talking about your average manager. Your
Really?
average manager of a fast food got a young chick, Adam. In white world, oh hell yeah. It ain't even a fuddy. I've seen fuddy duddy looking dudes. Now I'm not talking about whether they got to be hot looking or not. I'm talking about younger women who are like, I saw that car, I saw that house, I give head. What what you want to do? I, you got these white dudes, man. These white dudes do not fight hard for their relationships, and that's why some of them are trying to try black women because black women are a little bit more feistier because these white women are just super agreeable, and white dudes hate that. What are your thoughts, AM? I cut you off. I'm sorry.
You're right about that. But but why is it like that though?
Because
Um,
they've been trained in their culture to understand that they're going to get fat quick, that they're going to get that the poops underneath their eyes are going to come fast. See, black women think that they're Superman. Black women think they got a lot of time. White women are
yes.
like, I am one baby away. You can't tell a Mexican girl nothing because a Mexican girl knows she is one baby away from blowing up. So she got to get this dude, this little hairy chest, 5 foot dude, and she 5'8", mind you. She got to get this hairy chest dude who goes to his construction job every day, and she's straight. 80% of black women don't understand that. They believe I'm gonna be beautiful forever. But boy, when they hit 50 and 60, like, oh, please, somebody. It's a weird thing
Yeah,
to say.
it is weird. It is weird when you speak to some people and they're like they're 35 now. And now they're like, okay, I finished my career. Now I'm ready to settle down. And I'm just like, what? How has that become so acceptable? Like, it's different if you've already been married as a woman, I feel. At 35, things didn't work out and you're trying again. But you literally have women that now is when they're starting to date in their 30s. And I'm just like, what were you doing this whole time?
It doesn't matter because majority of the dudes already got swooped up. Majority
Yeah.
of the dudes already got picked. I mean, you know. Shout out to Cesare. She says 1/3 of Americans are participating in the gig economy. Yes, they are. But we're going to see because here's one thing I say about the gig economy. Let India finish because India's in the middle of building a Silicon Valley. It's in its infancy right now. Let India complete that Silicon Valley and see what happens to America. Won't be the first time. Won't be the first time. Now you might be 65 by the time it happened, but you'll be like, whoa, everything is, or it might take one war. We might have a war or a civil war because we got a lot of different cultures here, you know. A lot of people don't like a lot of people. It wouldn't be nothing for the Palestinians to start fighting the Israelis on USA land. What's going to happen? Who's going to stop it? You're going to be having an actual war. The Ethiopians fighting the Somalians. What? What you going to do? you know, MC Worker, what are your thoughts, sir?
I mean, I pretty much agree with everything you two have been saying. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's another thing a lot of people don't take into consideration that when you bring more than one other culture, those two cultures back home may not be in agreement with each other. So when they get to your place, they may still be having that animosity towards each other, but because they're at your place, so to speak, they may pretend to act like they're respecting you, but in actuality, they could also be plotting against you. So I mean, you really actually just shooting yourself in the foot.
I'm not sure about the whole cultures argument. I might have to actually look into the numbers
Please do.
because
Please do.
yeah.
Come back and disagree and let's see what it is. Uh let's
But
I mean I like what people research. Go ahead.
No,
I
because
was
I'm
saying
just
that
saying, what's the total population of Americans anyway? What is it, 200 million?
Let's call it that.
So you would seriously think that there's enough of those people of those demographics for it to actually make a significant difference? I'm
No,
not sure
no,
about that.
because the word significant is anecdotal. Significant is how each person determines what significant is. Uh, the thing is, uh, a woman who's not getting success with a younger guy is not going to wait because culturally, let's use Latinas for example. Latinas marry out more than anybody. This is why I don't pay attention to Pew Research because they're very anti-black. But Latinas marry out more than anybody. They'll marry Asians, Latin. They don't care. You think they're gonna wait? No. Latinas have more. There are more single baby mama Latinas than there are black women, single baby mama. Do you think Latinas are gonna wait? No. Latinas see an opportunity. I got a Puerto Rican girl I know right now. Hey, if she saw an opportunity with me, she would grab it. But me and her are just telephone friends. But if she saw an opportunity, yeah, she's gonna be like, "Hey, come through." you know, because what's happened is there's a culture, ladies and gentlemen, and people got to understand. Single people, we don't understand cultural things. Just like, let me ask you this, Am. How do you think about Indians who still get arranged marriages and who have family dynasties already in America?
I think that's a beautiful and wonderful thing, and it's very strategic. Unfortunately, it's not going to work in the most black communities because I suppose most black people are still after this whole notion of, oh, you gotta love each other and figure it out.
Right, right.
That
Because
every
most
black woman
Indian
I
wo-
talk to, it's gotta be love first, and I'm just like,
because most Indian women don't even like their husband.
yeah.
That's for real. But they do it to get their children the chance to be managers of your children. That's all they focus on. When you talk to most Indian women, they're always talking about their kids. It's not about them. Indian women in Australia, NC Worker, what are your thoughts?
It's very true. Real quick, I was I've had some jobs too as well. I was working a job and there was a Indian lady and her husband who was white, and she literally said that, "Oh, my family, we come from a pretty good place in India. And you can tell that she was not lying. She's definitely came from the finer side of life. But she literally said to my partner, my coworker, and at the time, she was like, "My husband, not so much. They're him and his people. They're not so fancy as we are. They're not as like the way we are." My coworker and I was like, "Wow, did she literally just tell us that?" I was like, "Man, that is mind blowing." So it really does go to show that in culture, when you have a strong culture, that it no matter where you're at, because as you said, that flag mentality, that it comes along with you. It is not just something that you wave in the air, it's something that you have also in your mind as well.
So, shout out to the new movie, Malcolm and Marie, about an older woman with a younger guy. It's a black movie. And when it's an older woman and a younger dude, we never frown on that. Have you guys noticed? We don't really frown on that type of stuff.
That's because they're called cougars.
Exactly. Exactly. And the funny thing is this, she plays an older woman, but he's actually the older guy because she's 24 and he's 36. AM, what are your thoughts?
I I'm kind of disappointed that it's a black movie,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, I
But
see
there,
that a
but there's
lot.
been
I see that a
several
lot.
white ones. There's been several white ones.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's like
There, there was a
whenever some
famous one with what's her name? Winona Wyatt. But go ahead.
for
I,
real.
I'll pull it up. Go ahead.
I mean, okay, the whole cougar thing. I can't help but to think, but every time I think of a cougar, it's always a sexual benefit. I don't know why. I can't help but to always just think that. I just don't see an older woman getting any type of fulfillment from a younger man other than that, other than the pleasure. I'm not sure. I just don't see it.
Hmm. Interesting.
Because I would assume that the same way that a man does that, you know how some men say they like extremely young women because it makes them feel young again. I would assume that it would be the exact same thing for a woman.
Hmm. Interesting. I can't say. What are your thoughts, MC Worker?
Well, I can understand your your sentiment, but the thing is, though, too, though, whenever it's thought of an older man saying he likes younger men, women, it's always associated with he has some type of P word type thing going on, or type of P word mentality, as opposed to him being a male cougar. So most of the time, it is usually used or geared towards something that is sexual when it comes to usually that of an older woman and a younger man. But the thing is, society has deemed that a woman can quote unquote mold or form a young boy to a man, whereas a man will just be domineering and mean and controlling to a young lady to just trying to transform into a woman.
Hmm. So Cesare says, why would they not want a super agreeable woman? White guys have this sexual thing that goes on. When you're making money, high money, you do have a little bit of sexual appetite. And your sexual appetite can get away from you. Happens to Indian dudes all the time. Indian dudes are very insecure. Uh, Coming from the world of Kama Sutra, when you look at the Indian Pakistani history of sexuality, their guys are almost they're either rapists, and I don't mean to say, I mean that's just how it was before the internet. Either they were raping chicks, because I was out in Bangladesh and then I took a bus over to New Delhi. They out there raping chicks before the internet, or they were just extremely shy, goofy type of dudes. So you have that a lot with dudes who make money. They, you know, they don't really have the swag. You know what I'm saying? It's a very unique thing, and so they kind of need somebody to slap them on their butt, pull their penis, kick them in the balls. They like that type of stuff. It's a weird thing. I don't, but it's a weird thing. Some of them just don't like that, and so they need something more aggressive. That's why for a long time white guys used to love the spicy Latina, and they love Asian girls because Asian women turn into tiger moms. Like when the white guy gets with her, yeah, she's petite and all that, but if you notice, a lot of families after the Asian woman's been with this white guy for a couple of years, she ends up running him. NC Worker, what are
Yes.
your thoughts?
Very true,
NC
very
Worker.
true. I'll also say that sometimes with white men, they like that almost like a challenge, a sexual challenge that they have sometimes that they want to also be met to as well. It's almost like sometimes with dealing with some black women want a black man to quote unquote put them in their place or to challenge them so that they can be put into their place to be known that their man is domineering. And
Well,
with I've known, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was going to insert that. Yeah, you're right because I'm very dominant toward the women I'm with,
Right.
and they love it. They love it. But go ahead.
So so I believe, and this is just my belief from what I've seen, that since a woman connects to a man emotionally, because that's how she goes throughout the world, that you're telling her emotions that, hey, I'm not the one. But in the event that to show you I'm not the one to anyone else, I'm going to give you this feeling. And this
Right.
feeling is that I'm very domineering. So I'm not the one to be messed with or to do that with. And
Well, but
so
see,
with
here's the strongest thing I do though. I'm not abusive. I threaten to
right,
take this love away. I'm serious. I threaten to take this love away. Something I used to say in my wolf stuff that I used to do for the guys. Here's my talent on why I'm so successful with women. I will make. Oh, she left. I will make a woman's girlfriends jealous. If you're my woman, your girlfriends and your cousins are going to be jealous. And most women love that. Most women love to be able to turn their girlfriends, get in the car, get in the convertible. Oh yeah, yeah, we good. Oh yeah, I'm gonna buy these $300 boots. Oh yeah, and for guys, they're looking at it like, oh, you tricking. No, this Okay, how does this sound controlling, Faith? Click the link. Come on up. Cause see, you know what's so unfortunate about a lot of ladies? Y'all put these labels on things, and it's like let's do the reverse. Let's do the reverse. A woman tells you as a are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Something just happened to my internet. A woman tells you as a guy that she wants you to wear particular clothes. Is that controlling, MC Worker?
No, because at the end of the day, I want to make her feel comfortable, and not just comfortable. What turns her on may eventually also turn me on because I'm turning her on for what I have on. So
Right.
that
But
that's
but
just
for
how I
some
see it.
reason but for some reason when guys do that to women, women come out and say that sounds controlling. This is what relationships are. Relationships have an element of control. Yes. I'm
Well, see,
sorry. But
well,
well, let me
see.
just make this point.
Mhm.
But when women are controlling men, we don't really complain about it. I've worn ties that I didn't like. I've worn outfits that I didn't like because she liked it. Am I going to walk around and say she's controlling me? No, this is part of what relationships are. What the fact that I wore that ugly tie made her wet. I'm sorry. This comes with the relationship. And a mature person understands that. We can't go around talking about everything is detrimental just because the woman didn't get her way. Because guys have to go through that also. Faith, please click the link. Come on up. Go ahead, NC Worker.
What I was saying was, and I agree with that because you know, whenever a man gets married, it's always this sexual joke that that this guy can now only get sex on her terms, which I'm not saying he shouldn't per se, but I'm just saying it should be consensual. That's what I'm saying. All right. But also because, now that since they're in a relationship, marriage rather, that, she controls the quote unquote everything. She controls to when they have sex and the money and things of that. And he's just this guy who's just, okay, honey, I'll do what you say. And it's like, it's almost as if some people want the fairy tale of a guy to be able to do everything they want them to do, but at the same time, when it comes down for them to need them to be a man or quote unquote be a man in their eyes, then they want them to be the man. And that's not reality, and that's not how life really works, as we all know it to be. Good morning.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, okay. I'm on my little night ride here, so I might be going in and out with my signal. But I just heard a little bit of what you were saying, the tail end of it, and you were saying that if you wanted her to wear certain clothing, that's what she's gonna do, and to a certain degree, I don't mind wearing certain clothing that my man, likes to see me in, but at the same time, he's not going to tell me what to wear all the time. I mean, that's a bit controlling for me.
I can't speak for him, but I would like to say that I don't think he was saying it is for all the time. But there should be some times and occasions, like maybe on an anniversary. Hey baby, I like that pink dress that you had on, the first time when I met you. Things like that, or so, whatever the case may be. So I think that, you know, it should be a balance because I'm pretty sure there are things that maybe he has, or maybe even a cologne that you may like that he may not be fond of, but you like that cologne on him. And so you may like to smell that cologne upon him, right? So you may say to him, hey, sweet, hey, baby, I want you to wear this cologne. Okay, no problem. So it just seems like it should be a balance. That's all I think that he was trying to say. It should be a balance. Not that it should be something every single day.
Right, but then I also heard him say something about he withdraws love. And see, I have a problem with people that do that. That is also a form of controlling behavior as well.
Okay, so I think when we talk about love, love in today's society it's become so vague now. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it has.
Okay then. So then, Ms. Faith, what is your definition of love?
Well, it's a verb. I mean, it's an action word. So, a
Okay.
man can express it by, saying it, but I'm gonna look for it more in his actions.
Okay then. Well, all right. What is your definition of love? Not Webster's, not any other. What is your definition of love? Matter of fact, how does your man show love to you without getting too detailed if you feel like it? But
What question?
Yeah, the way he treats me, the way that he
okay,
cares, and different things that he does for me.
okay then. Oh,
But here's a question. What if I came in and says, okay, but what he's doing is controlling?
Well, I mean, what as far as his expressions of love,
Hmm.
how is expressing love to someone controlling?
Because it sounds controlling.
Okay.
But you see how I believe I think my point I'm trying to raise is how when we assert those type of things that you're benefiting from, it becomes detrimental to a true conversation about progress. Because if we're trying to progress, we need to be specific about what is controlling, what is detrimental. Because if you in your relationship feel that you're progressing, it's disingenuous of us to come in through our mirror and our failed relationships to say what you're doing is not, you can't be benefiting from it. I think the one thing, Faith, I want you to understand is, and I'm going to give you the microphone, but the one thing I want you to understand is we we halfway decent guys, I call myself halfway decent. We halfway decent guys, we take a lot on the chin and we don't get into the particulars of things the way ladies do. Because if we did, then you would have the boyosphere, which is these boys in the manosphere constantly complaining because they're looking at the specifics of everything. But when you're a mature dude, you really don't get caught up in that stuff. What are your thoughts, Faith?
Okay, well, I can agree with what you just said, but in the context of what I came in on, and you were talking about withdrawing love, if you don't get a certain reaction out of a woman, that's controlling.
Oh, okay. Let me explain it further. Guys, they don't have a filter to deal with a lot of stuff the way women do. Okay, some guys get violent, which I disagree with. Some guys start lying, which I disagree with. But my solution is remove yourself. If you feel like something isn't working for you as a guy, women tend to forget that we're human beings too. Okay, so you withdraw love when you're not getting those things because it reminds this lady something stronger than physicality or arguing. It reminds her he really don't have to be here if he chooses not to. He's here because he wants to be here. But if I keep making these actions, he's going to use his human right and remove love. Explain to me, you got the microphone. How is that theory controlling?
Okay, well, I need a better understanding of what you're talking about as far as like what she's doing that would cause you to remove love.
Whatever the man feels like is his cause. We can't really go into what it is because let's turn it out on the women. When you women have something that you have women's intuition about, or whatever the case may be, we don't ask you to explain it, right? It's what you feel. Even when you may find out months later that you was wrong, it's what you felt at the time. Am I correct? So we
Right, but the communication is key to any relationship. So if you don't know what the problem is, why are you withdrawing anything?
So You're withdrawing because you as a human have a right to make that decision, even if
Right.
it's
And I'm not saying you don't have a right, but it doesn't make any sense. It sounds very controlling. This is where the controlling part comes in
okay.
because it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, but let me share this with you. If you ladies constantly give men these negative labels because they're not able to articulate or explain something to your satisfaction, then you are telling him he can't be human. Because as I just explained,
No, no, I'm telling you that you're poor with communication.
okay. So what do you so educate me. When the woman is making a decision and it turns not out to be wrong, is she poor with communication?
If she has not communicated, absolutely.
Okay. So where's the resolution?
The resolution there would be to communicate and see where you are with each other in that particular circumstance. And it depends on whatever it is. We're using a hypothetical without even utilizing any real, actual example. So, I mean, it's very hard for me to gauge what it is. But
Mm.
without the communication, that's the first and foremost. You're talking about withdrawing love, and y'all ain't even talked about nothing. That don't make no sense.
Let me put on my counselor hat just for 1 second. I think you may never find this out, but you may find that a lot of arguments have nothing to do with the backstory. You may find that a lot of decisions your counterpart makes. Please remember this, Faith. And I say this out of love. A lot of decision your counterpart makes has nothing to do with specifics or reasons.
Well,
Hum-
if my counterpart can't talk to me about what it is that's bothering them, and he withdraws quote unquote love, I'm going to count myself as lucky and get the hell up out of there.
okay. Well, I would just suggest to you that love is not something you should get the hell out of there about, because humans go through things just like animals do that are temporary, but they are fight or flight type of scenarios, because everybody can't explain stuff to your satisfaction, Faith. No matter how intelligent we may sound, even I have had my dumb and stupid days or my depressed days. And I'm going to tell you again, as a counselor, you've done it. You may not have realized you've done it. We all do it. People come into
Well, if
situations.
you can't communicate to me what it is bothering you, and then
Mhm.
it's my job. If I would at least want you to try. And if you can't, as you say, explain it because you have your dumb days, then it's my job to ask a follow up question to get quick clarification. After my clarifying questions, I find that you're on bullshit. I'm out of here.
Okay. Well, I look at love differently. Love is not for me. I'm a person that loves love. I love romance. I personally know it's not that cut and dry. That there's a lot of other elements at play, um, and a lot of times the communication isn't there. I left my fiance because her communication was bad, and I say I regretted it because I gave her every opportunity to communicate, Faith, which is to your point. But she kept doing
Mm.
stuff that was against the team. Okay.
Well,
Come to
then you had a right. You had a right because number one, she's doing stuff that's against the team, and number two, she's not communicating. That's a fool. You can't
no,
you can't build nothing with that.
true, true. But what it ended up being was that her mother was pressuring her. Her
That's
mother,
even worse.
yeah, yeah. So well, no, all of what you're saying is correct. I never doubted what you're saying is correct. My only thing is love suffers, love endures. And
No, it don't.
okay, let's hear from NC Worker. Where did I get it wrong, NC Worker?
You got it wrong that you should never withdraw your love from a woman. What are you talking about? No, I'll say this. Both men and women both have at times withdrew for whatever reason may be. But I will say this: some things in life, what I've noticed in speaking with people, and even in some of the jobs I've had, some people may not aren't just comfortable talking or opening up to anyone. And it may be a certain time of year, something happened to them, a certain time of season, whatever the case may be. They may not be open up to talk to anyone or share anything about by themselves rather. So when it comes down to the whole withdrawn love, like we said earlier, love has become so vague now. So it can be a number of things. It could be something as simple as pulling out the chair for the lady
Yeah.
whenever you two went to the dinner table together to eat. Something as little as that maybe first glance, maybe she might have noticed, but didn't say anything about. But let's say it happens again, then she's like, "Oh, he didn't pull out the chair this time. He didn't put his plate away when he finished eating."
You know what I'm starting to learn in this conversation with Faith? I think we as guys, when we do fall in love, we might, depending on the person, we might be a little bit more enduring than ladies. Ladies in nowadays, and I understand they've been frustrated, Faith. So, I understand they might want to bounce because they're dealing with dudes that bounce. But I don't know. I believe I don't know. I believe a little different. You got the last word on this, Faith, and we're gonna go back to the title before you get out of here. What your last word on this topic, Faith?
Well, what NC just explained as far as like not holding the chair out, when she goes in, little things you little would do, those are expressions of love. Now I can understand withdrawing love on that level. If you find that it has withdrawn love on a certain level herself. So that portion of it, yeah, I can understand when he puts it that way.
So going back to the title, Faith, I said earlier, 20% of females, maybe even 30% of black women, we as black guys should protect. We should not lump all women together. Um, because women are at different stages of their life. I remember when you first came around and you was doing the trucking videos, you had some dudes that had some energy for you. And I was saying to some dudes behind the scenes, I said, let's not be little boys. She feels what she feels, but she might only be feeling what she feel right now. But you going over there to attack her page or say little slick mouth stuff, that's not mature. You kind of adding to her perception of the nonsense. What are your thoughts on that, Faith?
Yeah, I believe so. We have a problem as far as how can I say, taking each other's opinions. You're right, and maybe I might have done so in coming in the middle of your stream and hearing you say something, and maybe I jumped to the wrong conclusion.
But it's okay. I mean, at least you asked, though. I think that's the bigger thing. You did ask. You said you disagreed. You said it sounds like controlling, and we got to have a conversation about it. The audience will decide who's right, who's wrong based on their life choices. But it's all about helping the community at the end of the day. Nobody's 100% perfect about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but I think we need to protect the 30% because you got 80% of women attacking you women. What are your thoughts on that?
80% of women attacking women?
Yeah, let me give you an example because maybe you're not in these circles to see it. But when women make up terms like male identified, when women make up terms like mammy and pick me, those negative terms are not positive. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
And those are women creating those terms, not men. Why would you attack a woman for being happy in her decision?
Well, that's what me and Lovelism was talking about Saturday. We were talking about women who do that. We call it toxic pick-meism. We both believe that all women are pick-me's to a certain degree.
True.
Uh, like, I think that what we do is we try to demonize women, heterosexual women, for wanting the opposite sex.
True.
And I think that that's wrong for us to do that.
And it's wrong for the dudes to participate in the nonsense too.
Yeah,
Because
because you're going against nature. You know, me, I naturally am attracted to the opposite sex. I'm going to do things to try to attract the man and get his attention, and that doesn't make me a pick me. It's nature. You
right.
know, me, Hello?
Go ahead. I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't think that those things would make me a pick me. What I think makes a woman a pick me is when she sees toxic male behavior, such as a man calling a woman out her name, dressing her down, talking about her looks, and she joins in with him and in an effort to endear herself to that man and say,
That's
see,
fair.
I'm not like that woman over there. I'm not ugly like her. I'm pretty. I cook, I clean, I do this, that, and the other. You know, I hit all the check marks that you're talking about. That's toxic pick-meism.
What about the women who do it for girl approval, for sisterhood approval? What about women who get and they go after women or go after men because they know the sisterhood want to say, yeah, girl, get them.
Yeah, they're no better than the pick-me's that do it for male attention. They're no better.
Or what about the ones who say, I want a white man, white man, white man, but these white husbands are not dropping to one knee. They're just dating.
Now that's just being dumb. That has nothing to do with a pick-me.
Does it now? Okay. I look at it differently because for me, you're still doing it for approval.
Well, no, not necessarily. If you're just if you're just making bad choices in men, that has nothing to do with anybody's approval. That's your personal. That's just you making bad choices.
That's interesting. MC Worker, what are your thoughts?
It's very interesting.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. Faith is a very interesting person. When you give her some peace to let her get her whole thoughts out, it's interesting. Go ahead.
You know,
Well,
she's
oh
definitely
no, go
you can
ahead.
speak.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, go
Well,
ahead.
okay. Um, what I was going to say was that she also got me to think about a little bit the term whole pick me as well, a little bit differently. Um, from my understanding, anytime that someone wanted to, it always seemed like a picking was always looked at being bad, but to me, it always seemed like the ones that was getting called pygmies was the women that were just being feminine. That was just my take on it. But
Mm,
I mean, again, you know, I'm a guy, so I don't know the. I guess I'm pretty sure the dynamics are different in between the men seeing it and the women seeing it for what it actually is, or what it could actually be. But even when it comes down to, let's say, dating the opposite sex, if or rather the opposite race, you know, sometimes from my understanding, that could also be swirling. But again, I mean, for all these new terminology, I'm gonna have to,
it's all
I'm gonna
confusing.
need a new, I'm gonna need a new dictionary. That's for sure. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, it's all confusing at the end of the day. This is why, I understand, like for me, I'm a decent dude, got a career. Whether women want to see me as the prize or not is irrelevant to me. I have to stay away from poisonous women. I just have to. And this goes to the 80% faith that I put in the title. 80% of women, they're just they're, they're just going to poison everything I have. They're going to poison my good nature. They're going to poison. I'm just not willing to do it. I'm just not willing to do it. But I've been dodging white women, dodging Asian women for so long, trying to hold out for a black female. But I understand black females are humans too. They want what they want, how they want it, and what have you. It's just trying to put those two wants together on the same plane. I like femininity. I like, a manager mindset. If I need to wait and be patient, so be it. I'm not going to sling my penis around and get caught with the wrong idiot just because she looks good and her breasts can stand up by themselves. I'm just not doing it. But I understand. What are your thoughts, Faith?
Well, I don't blame you for that. I mean, I wouldn't ask any brother to just lay down his standards just for any bimbo. I have a son, and my son is in his 20s now, and that's the same thing that I would tell him. You have to have your standards. There are certain things you should look for in a young lady that you're dating. And yes, she does have to bring something to the table more than just, like you said, her breasts being able to stand up by themselves. She's got to be somebody that knows how to budget, be educated, so that she's not make your children are not dumb because she's dumb, because the mother, the woman is the first teacher of the child. So these are things that I've told them, hey, you really need to look for these qualifications in the woman. How does she keep her home? Has she ever kept a dirty house before? Can she cook? The little things that actually mean a lot. And she has to be the type of person that knows something about economics, because you don't want a woman that can't handle money. If something goes to a point where your budget is where it has declined, well, will she be able to go without some of the things that she had been, accustomed to for a short period of time until you can get right again?
Right.
So these are the things that, I would tell my son that you're going to have to look at in a woman to see if she's versatile and doing those things. And she had to have been doing those things on her own first before she got with you. Because a lot of times when you take her straight from mommy and daddy's house, she ain't paid no
Yeah,
bills. She ain't
nothing.
she ain't kept her own house. She ain't
Nothing.
done none of these things. She don't have any of the skills yet.
Yeah. Matter of fact, Mr. New says you're standing in quicksand. Regarding to me, I'm not standing in quicksand. I understand marriage is a business, and I think that has freed me up from waiting on marriage, from expecting a good woman, from all that. The fact that marriage is a business, I can get with a woman who does not like me, and we can be both economically sound. And I am so disciplined as a leader that within 5 to 10 years, we both come out way better than we would have ever did solo. And we either fall in love because we've been together so long, or we shake hands and we separate the properties. Because marriage is a business. It's not about wanting to be married no more. It's not about, you have to bump into somebody that you really like. And it's that first 5 or 10 arguments that's going to really tell you whether y'all are going to be cool together. Because I'm going to tell you, man, like I got 3 women that I interact with sexually. And a couple of you guys and my fans, you've seen women. You've seen the text messages. I'm not a dude that front. But that shit gets tiring. Dick slinging gets tiring. It really does. And some days you just don't even want to deal with that nonsense. You see, Worker, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Sometimes you wish it could be a detachment so you could say here. But yeah, I mean, it goes back to what we was talking about earlier, when a man needs to have a plan and for himself. So as far as I think, too many of us have all been sold this ideal or dream, rather, that love comes with marriage, and that's not the case whatsoever.
No.
And and I think sometimes when we look at some of the relationships of the past, whether it's our grandparents or great grandparents or whatever may have you, we don't ever think about what it was like for them in the very beginning. All we
Mm.
know is all we know is they got married at 16, 15, or 14 years old. They stayed together for the rest of their lives. You know, yeah, granddaddy
My
might have
parents
been
were
a
together
drunk. Or,
60 years.
you see what I'm saying? Granddad might have been drunk here and there, whatnot. He might have had a kid, a couple of kids across town, but you know that your grandparents still stayed together.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, but
no
those were
matter,
different
uh,
circumstances back
true,
then.
true,
Yeah,
true.
but different according to who? I mean, because our circumstances are not too far removed. They just got different elements to them. But you know,
But
And see
no,
now,
no, because see, the women back then didn't have the opportunities that the women have now.
okay.
Now it's a little bit different. Back then the women did, cleave to their husbands because they depended on them for their livelihood. But
Hmm.
now that's not the case anymore. Women can take care of themselves independent of a man.
Okay, so why keep asking men for help?
Well, just because you can take care of yourself independent of a man doesn't mean that you don't want to be a stay-at-home housewife.
so then
Like
what
I
would be the
said,
purpose?
when I told my son, that he should meet a woman that is accustomed to paying bills and taking care of her own home, I meant that. But at the same time, my son also understands it is his responsibility to take care of the woman in anything that comes out of her.
I don't know. I tell you, it's a different world. Go ahead, MC Worker, finish up.
Oh, okay. What I was saying was, yes, the dynamics were different, but even if today, it goes back to what's the purpose of the whole marriage itself between
Exactly.
you two, between you two. Because at the end of the day, you know, marriage is a bypart, or rather, a beginning part of a legacy, and your children are part of that legacy. Where do you want your legacy to be in life? And how do you want your legacy to have, what type of life they had, what you want for them? So, your children are a continuation of you. Where do you want your children to be, and what type of life you want for your children? And I think sometimes when we get into these relationships, we lose that focus and we lose that narrative, and we just think of as of right now, as opposed to what's comes down further down the road.
Let me say this. Sassarus One says, Mr. Research, would you be okay with being unmarried if you never find a person? No, I'm at the point where uh, I may pay for a lady from Africa. I may
Oh,
do
you
that.
you would import
Yeah, yeah,
just to be married?
yeah, yeah. If I can't solidify none of this American stuff, you got to understand the way I see the world is very international. I don't see the world the way Americans train black people to see it. So I believe in aristocrats. I believe in family dynamic. My parents have been in the same place for 60 years. Um, there's they used to be a staple in the community when everybody knew each other, but most of those people have moved on or died. Um, I see I see the family property. Everybody's turning white around my mother's community because the children were never developed. You feel me? So many kids have lost the parents' homes and they have nothing to come back to, and their children have nothing to come back to. This is why black people are always restarting. So for me, to answer Cecily's question, I'm looking at I'm 5'10", but I'm looking at 6'4" women from Africa. I'm looking at 6'2" women, very dark. I like women from Chad, Senegal. I like very dark women. Because if I don't, and I'm limited to this American stuff, I'll mess around and end up getting somebody Asian or white. And I really, but the night of my life.
Something
Hello?
happened? Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
I was driving through a really bad area. I'm leaving California, going back into Phoenix.
Um,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh,
I,
okay.
I think Mr. Reese is really saying because he comes from a time era that black families were a staple, and it has nothing to do so much as being a pro-black or anything like that. It's just that a black family unit is very important, and a lot of times today we don't value that. We don't value a two-parent household anymore. The vast majority of people now growing up single parents, which is very sad. And I think that sometimes, when we talk about getting married and relationships, yes, the laws in the US are very messed up. Yes, there are many cases that are very messed up and things do not always go to plan. But at the end of the day, it's about legacy because one day when you get old, not so much as you want your children to look after you, but you want to be in a position to be able to, if your children can look after you. Because a lot of times what happens, parents get old and their children can't take care of them, so they have to send their parents off to a nursing home. They can't take care of their parents' home, so now they have to put their parents up home up for foreclosure or have to put it up for sale because they have their own place that they're trying to have, or they just can't afford to keep it up. So again, it is about legacy and where it is in life where you want to be and what type of life you want to have.
Well, I can agree with that. That especially if you have money and businesses and land and stuff like that to pass down, you definitely want to look at your legacy. But I don't know. It's kind of difficult to make a marriage last, especially in this time, without building it on a firm foundation. And it sounds to me like you're talking about just getting with strangers just for the sake of making children and having a business arrangement, but you don't know if you like the person. You don't know if you all are compatible in any other ways. What is there to sustain the marriage if there's nothing,
So,
between the
mhm.
two of you except for a contract?
Well, see now, it kind of goes along with arranged marriages. Do you think that when somebody gets into an arranged marriage, that person, those two people, liked each other since they met each other?
Well, it's kind of hard for me to talk about something that I'm not familiar with because I'm
Just
not familiar with arranged marriage culture. I don't
Okay,
know what my mindset would be like if I was raised. Now, I was only raised in this culture.
I understand. I think what it is that a lot of times we put so much emphasis on the what if that sometimes we lose track and fact of what is. And the fact of the matter is that what it is you two look forward to out of the arrangement. Because if marriage is like that of a business, then to some retrospect, it's going to be a somewhat of a partnership. So when you come into a partnership, you two come into an agreement. Yes, there's always going to be some things that you two may not like about each other. It That's just human nature. But can you two get along with each other for the sake of what your end goal is? And I think sometimes we lose sight of that. What's the end game plan? What is it that we're trying to get to? What's the goal of all of this?
Well, here's the thing though. A lot of times when men are talking about marriage contracts, they're only thinking of it in terms of what's in it for them. But they never ever hardly think of it in terms of what's in it for the woman. And there's a lot that you all put on the woman that she have to put up with.
Do you think that do you think it's vice versa though too as well? That you don't think that women don't
No,
put a
I
lot
don't
on the
I don't
men?
think anyone ever thinks about what's in it for the woman.
Really? Because if a
But he's but
man,
he but he's asking you vice versa. Do you think
right?
that women think about what the man puts up with?
Well, what does he have to put up with?
Well,
So you never thought about that?
Well, that's why I'm asking, because I'm looking at marriage like you're going into the marriage with this woman. You want her to bear your children, so she's going to bear your children. That automatically, if she ever wanted to leave you, that knocks her down on the market, to ever get another man. So she's more than likely going to want to stay with you, and she's going to have your babies, right?
Hmm.
Uh-huh. So then
Okay,
she
so
has
so
she, she
so
has your babies, but then you want her to also, carry herself a certain way. You want her to live a certain way. You want her to dress a certain way. You want her
mhm.
to act a certain way. There's a lot of things that you put on the woman, as I stated earlier.
Okay. So let me ask you this question because I know NC Worker got his, and thank you for holding the show down, NC Worker. Let me ask you this question. Uh, let's say I don't want her to bear my kids, and I'll have that through a surrogate or I'll adopt. Um, what
Purpose
what
of
what?
a marriage or business then.
Yeah, because see what I'm hearing, Faith, is, and I'm not saying you wrong for it. It's just that ladies are so detached from what guys are benefiting from. And I understand because how you guys look at it, you looking at it as your foremothers had to endure stuff or was not perfectly loved at 100%. And I get all that. But I think that sometimes you ladies get the impression that this woman is giving this guy 100% of everything. A lot of our women don't dress for men. They dress for other female approval. You know it and I know it. A lot of women get in stuff where the guy gets to a point. He say, "I let her wear what she want to wear. She do what she want to do." He ain't even happy half the time with the stuff he see. So I don't know where we're talking about, and everything is different. Depends on the person. But I get lost sometimes when we talk about all these things that the women are doing when the woman's number one responsibility is supposed to be the children, and so many of our children are uneducated. The microphone is yours, Faith.
Okay, well, that's exactly my point. You're sitting here saying that men are unhappy with the way the women dress and carry themselves.
Hello? Can anyone hear me?
I can't hear Faith.
Well,
Okay, Faith dropped off too.
she
Uh,
mentioned,
I understood Faith's point, but I think that a lot of times women don't understand. We as dudes, man, we got all this stuff that we would like from our women, but we don't get half of it.
uh,
That's why I wanted to give her the microphone because we don't get half of that stuff
let's
that
see
we
too.
expect.
Right. And I think too that it goes back to that romanticization of women just being these docile, just almost perfect like people, and we as men trying to take advantage of that. And I think that has really been trickled down and it has infiltrated marriage because now that's how people view marriage these days. That it's just, well, especially in men who are in positions of power, that since they're in a position of power, that also means they're going to be power throughout all everything that they do in life, which is not always the case. I mean,
Let me also say this because what I was
mhm,
going to say after she had finished speaking was that's another thing women don't understand. We just don't really trip off stuff the way they do. You know, we don't really mind an arranged situation, you know, that may end in 10 years because we're looking at it, okay, well, we together, we're going to make this happen, we're going to, and we don't, love comes after. That's just what I believe, man. Love comes after. There's people you don't even like, you end up loving them. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
Go ahead and finish your work, and then we'll get Faith because she's back.
Okay, great. Um, what I was going to say was that too, that a lot of times that we don't really focus on about what the men have to go through as far as keeping the lifestyle for this woman, keeping the lifestyle for the kids, having the plans for the kids. All these type of things that takes a whole lot of foresight, a lot of times does not come into consideration for the man. It's as if the man just supposed to just do it and just go on about their day, while the woman just have to be stuck at home and not doing anything but taking care of the children, cooking and cleaning. And that's not always the case. It really depends on the situation that
And the
you
children are struggling in school many of the times in those situations. So I don't even know
right.
how that comes to be. But 30 seconds, wrap it up. Let's hear Faith so she can get back to her point.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and give her these 30 seconds, and I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself.
Go ahead, Faith.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, you guys. You know I'm in the truck, but
It's all good.
yeah, what I was saying, I don't even remember what point I was making.
Let
Uh,
me let me refresh you a little bit. So the thing is, we, you know, guys don't have uh we don't get empathy from women a lot of times on what's affecting us. A lot of stuff has to be like, and I understand y'all point, you know, she that don't mean she's happy, that don't mean she's getting what she need. But guys don't even expect to get 50% of what from women. Guys just don't expect it. We deal with so much unhappiness in the situation, but there's something that we like about the woman. You know, it might be one or two things we like about the woman. I had a homeboy, he was really into his wife, and his wife died, right? So now he got to become a totally different person because he was that into his wife. I can't say he loved her, but he was really into his wife. It's a strange thing. Dudes are different than women. It's something you can't explain how we get down because we're willing to tolerate stuff that women clearly would never tolerate if they were men. But go ahead, Faye.
okay, well, what I was talking about was this marriage contract that you were saying. And I was talking about how it's a little bit different within the contract for women than it is for men. Like with men, you ask me, what it is that men have to put up with. I really, really don't think that there's much that you have to put up with, because you're going into the marriage knowing that you're going to marry this woman, have children with her. So you already expect and you know what it is expected of you. But this woman, we go into the contract and it's basically more than just, we got to have your kids. We already expect that we're going to, give birth to your children and all of that. But it's this extra stuff that we got to do. We got to dress a certain way. We got to act a certain way. We got to, adhere to all these different rules and regulations that our man wants us to adhere to. And I don't think men understand how much work is involved in being a wife and a mother, to the satisfaction that a lot of you feel that we should do. And then when we do it to that satisfaction, a lot of times we're thanked by having men that thinks it's okay after you've been with us for a number of years and we've had all your children. You think it's okay to go out and get mistresses and sugar babies. And then we have to put up with that too. And if we leave, we're wrong if we leave, because we're supposed to stay because, your grandfather, your grandmother stayed with your grandfather back in the day, even though he was cheating on her. But we're supposed to stay and endure the same mess that the grandmothers endure. There's a never-ending obligation, it seems like, for us to endure some nonsense.
Let me tell you, in my lifetime, and I know it's going to sound like BS. This is just my anecdotal thing. I've seen more women cheat on their husbands than I've seen husbands cheat on their men in my lifetime. But, I've only had two of my male friends who cheated on their wives. The rest of them were women out young penis hopping because they're in a position to do it. I had one dark chocolate pretty girl. She just blatantly did it to her husband. Screwed my homeboy too. But I'm in a different world. So in this corporate world, in this office world, it's a totally different thing. Totally different concept. White women all day long cheating on their husbands. All day long. A lot of times with the husband's approval.
Mm-hmm.
I just see it totally different.
So the husbands are okay with the wives cheating. They're not divorcing them or anything.
Because the husbands now, number one, white men are the most remarried men in the world. Right? White men divorce a lot. But the husband many times is not with the wife for her beauty or her love. He's with her for connections. It sounds terrible. I know. I know it sounds terrible. He's with her because they both like farming. He's with her because they both like traveling Europe. But once that little fascination is over, even with black women, my auntie was with her white man for over 50 years. When he got tired, he was gone because he could.
But to me, there's just no incentive for women to get married anymore.
Because nothing's going to be perfect. This stuff is work.
Marriage is supposed to be permanent, but you're telling me that because they can't, they'll just up and leave.
Who told you marriage was permanent? Where in the Bible does it say that?
To death do you part?
Moses left Zipporah. Joshua told his wife, tell the king you my sister, and let his wife have sex with the king.
But they weren't going according to law. That don't mean that just because they did that in the Bible, they did a lot of things in the Bible that were wrong, that was not according to law.
Right. My point is,
and therein lied the lesson that we're supposed to learn on Sunday.
True. But my point is, each person, we have to develop the relationship to be what we want it to be. And sometimes, and that was my earlier statement, sometimes you can't leave out on a situation where I'm not currently getting my way for the past 4 months.
Well, according to you, men can just up and leave because they want to.
No, I never said men can.
But
Or
you
no,
just got through saying that
no.
that the white man left because he wanted to.
I said they do it. I didn't
Right.
say that. Yeah, yeah, they do it.
So where's the incentive for women to get married?
For women overall to get married comes through the vetting. You gotta vet dudes. Dudes gotta vet women. People who don't vet. Oh, okay, let's keep it 100. Let's talk some street shit.
Right,
Okay,
but you're telling me that even if you do that, I mean, how can you read his man 50 years later and to see whether or not he gonna just get tired of you and leave? Where's that in the vetting process?
it's in asking him questions about that type.
So he got a crystal ball and he gonna be able to tell you whether he gonna leave you in 50 years.
I'm gonna tell you, Faith, guys are not as smart as you give us credit for. I think MC Worker even tell you that. We're not classical geniuses. These dudes tell women up front who they are. I'm serious. There's a lot of
No,
dudes.
they don't. No, they don't, because that
So
have not
Yeah.
wait,
been.
wait.
No. I no. See, I've been married. I've been in relationships. You're not talking to a woman that have not lived, okay? And I have lived. I've experienced some things. I've experienced being lied to, and someone telling me something, then turn around, you meet the actual representative later on down the line because they lied.
I'm not saying that you haven't faith, and I can't discredit what you've been through. And I'm sorry that you've been through what you went through. But I I will say this though. I guess it depends on, I'm not trying to be rude when I say this. Depends on the type of guy who you're dealing with. But even certain other types of guys with some, not all, but some would still show you, if not tell you what kind of guy they are. But I will tell you as
I
a guy,
promise you,
no,
if these guys came to women and expressly said, "Hey, I'm gonna make you a baby mama, and by the way, I'm not gonna pay child support," I bet
Uh,
you a lot of these guys would not have anybody dealing with them at all whatsoever if they
but
were
my
upfront
question is,
about their fuck getting up.
but my question is, why are women not asking about children issues before they sleep with them? Why are
But
they
who
not?
say they're not? Who says they're not?
We as men are saying that they're not. We don't get these questions.
Really?
No, no. Look. I
No,
am.
no woman has sat down and asked you about children and
No,
marriage and
I
what you
have
want for the future and all of that.
some have in times
only.
past.
How many
For me,
times
But
you got an NC worker?
but hold on a second though. You
mhm,
told you revealed the other day that you deal with a lot of sugar babies too. So
True.
that wouldn't be the conversation.
You no. You're mistaken. You are mistaken. No.
shoot, let's
Many
enable
sugar.
that first.
Yeah. Many sugar babies weigh their options. They weigh their options, meaning that they're willing to take XYZ. Okay, so again, you got three different types of sugar babies. You got these women who they don't like the dating stuff out there. So they're willing to entertain this thing because 60% of their situation is covered. They know the man got his money together. They know they're gonna get some good pipe. And hey, play the cards right. This might be a relationship. These are the conversations we have. I'm going to dinner with a lady tomorrow. She has that that
Right,
concept.
but you're not having a conversation with your sugar baby beyond how much it's going to cost for her time.
No,
That's what I'm
you're
telling you. And initially, that you're not no, please, you're not talking to a dummy. You're not having those type of conversations with a sugar baby.
are you finished?
Hmm.
I am having those type of conversations. Yes.
So
It,
you're having conversations with a sugar baby that you would have with a woman that you're looking to marry.
of course.
Wow.
Why not? Why not?
You do know that these sugar babies they do this for a living.
No, you know what?
So
Here's the funny.
you talking about wiping up a woman that's a prostitute?
Oh my God. You're not understanding. You're just saying stuff that you believe.
No, no, no. You wait a minute. What is a sugar baby? A sugar baby is a prostitute.
You believe a sugar baby is a prostitute. So
Yes.
therefore, okay. So let me leave it at that. There's nothing I can give for you to understand it because you've already decided on what it is. So
Well,
I just
okay. Maybe I should ask you, what is your take on a sugar baby? Because aren't you giving that person money in exchange for their time and their body?
that is not what that lifestyle is all about. No. There's a lot. It's a lot more to it, man. I've
Oh, oh,
went
wow.
I went out on 3 dates and I haven't given no money and given out no penis.
But that's not a sugar baby relationship. You just dating.
Again, it's from a sugar baby lifestyle. We're both in this lifestyle.
Okay, either you're dating the woman or she's your sugar baby. It's one of the two.
Okay, like I said, per how you understand it, yes, I would agree. Per how you understand it, and all I'm trying to suggest to you, I I I can't tell. I can't tell you, even though I used to help make Kenworth trucks back in the day, I can't tell you the difference between a
So
Kenworth and
so so what I'm getting here is you periodically skew the lines between sugar baby and women that you would actually consider to be a wife. You skew those lines regularly. That's why it's all fucked up for you.
why do you feel it's fucked up? Why
Because
can't I be in control of what I designed? Why is it fucked
but
up?
you're not in control when when you're operating out of confusion.
How is it confusion?
Because here's the thing: these
You're
are these sugar.
you're
Hold on,
making statements. You're making statements without supporting
but
evidence. But go ahead.
I'm going to explain. You know, this right here does not even require supporting evidence. What I'm explaining to you is this: what you're telling me is that you deal with sugar babies. Well, what most people know of sugar babies is those are transactional relationships, meaning that she has a dollar amount you both that agree on, and it's that dollar amount for her body, sex, and her time, and that's all it is. But now you're telling me that you periodically go over the cross the boundary of that agreement, and you're sometimes looking at them as wifey material. That's chaotic.
You might. Can I get the microphone for a second?
Yeah, sure.
What I'm telling you is you have no idea what sugar babies is. You're going off an assumption and something you saw on TV or a news report. What I'm saying is instead of listening to what it's about, you're trying to dictate what it's about based on that TV documentary or news clipping that you heard about. I can't tell you about Kenworth trucks right now because I haven't messed with a Kenworth truck since 1990 something. But you can. But imagine me sitting up here telling you Kenworth trucks are just like GMCs because I saw it on the news report. No.
Okay, okay. So you're dating your sugar baby sometimes.
Every time you interact, any stop. Let's stop because we're going because you're not listening.
I am. I'm trying to get clarification here because see, you're confused and operating out of confusion, and you're trying to confuse me. But I know
You
what a
keep,
sugar baby is.
but you keep saying I'm operating out of confusion. You keep making these statements.
If you're dating your sugar babies with
Okay,
the
okay,
purpose of also looking at them as potential wives, you are operating out of confusion.
okay, no problem. Thank you that you keep saying that over and over. Now let's get to something else. What's the difference between dating someone and the sugar baby that you've labeled a prostitute? What's the difference?
But first of all, you don't have a contractual agreement.
That's a
You are
lie.
no, absolutely true.
That's a lie.
Absolutely true.
I am contractually
Once you have a contractual agreement with the person that's monetary, that person falls into sugar baby category.
So every time I do a dinner date, that's contractual in my
No,
mind.
no, no. That's dating. See,
No,
there's a
see,
difference.
and ladies and gentlemen, this is it. What's happening is one person has decided what something should be, and the other person
It's
who
not just me. It's everybody. Everybody knows what a sugar baby is.
What?
no. Let it simmer for a minute. You don't know what sugar babies are.
Okay. All right.
You
Yeah. All
believe
right.
you do.
Because every woman you take on a date is a sugar baby.
You
There,
believe
there's
you do.
there's no definitive of definition of what that is. So now we're gonna skew the lines, and everybody that you date is also a sugar baby. But we're not supposed, us intelligent people, not supposed to know. They usually it's a contractual agreement where you have both agreed upon a dollar amount, and this is what you're paying this person for their time and their sex. That's what a sugar baby is. Now, somebody that you're taking out on a date, getting to know, doing things together, that's totally different than a sugar baby. Please, I'm a grown woman. Don't try to do me.
No, I'm fine. You got your own conclusion. All I'm gonna say is this is why people can't learn things. So now that you've said that, there are sugar babies, there are arrangements, there are swingers, there are regular dates. There are so many different variables. But if a person is going to believe what they want to believe, they can't get no other information going in. So you
You
believe
have not
so
provided
still
anything
trying.
that
I'm not going
anything
to be.
different.
I'm not going to be able to provide it because in your brain, the only thing you see is prostitute.
What is the difference between a sugar baby that you are dating and a prostitute? Please, you just give me the
I'm,
differentiation,
I'm,
because see, you're
I
trying
would
to
like to.
skew it. You're
Hold on.
skewing.
You okay? Look, what do you believe a prostitute is?
I believe it's anybody that you're sleeping with for a set financial transaction. The same way that you would talk to the sugar baby and ask her, okay, well, how much, do I need to pay you per month for your expenses, et cetera, et cetera. You agree upon a dollar amount, but it's a long-term escort service. She's a long-term prostitute. The
Okay,
same way that you deal with a short-term prostitute, you both agree upon a dollar amount. It's the dollar amount.
okay. My second question: what is a polyamorous relationship?
I don't know. I don't deal in polyamory.
Hmm. What is a swinger relationship?
I don't deal with swingers.
What is a BDSM relationship?
Don't do that either.
So this is a world that you don't know anything about.
I didn't say that I knew everything about everything, but that I do know about. That's basic. Now BDSM, I don't know. That's not basic. That's something that I would have to study. Polyamory, that's not basic. I would have to study that too. But the oldest profession in the world, prostitution, everybody knows about that.
Can I speak?
Right ahead.
All right. So once again, what I'm saying is you don't know anything about this world. I'm trying to explain it.
Yeah, I've been here 45 years and don't know
I'll
nothing.
be
Please.
quiet. I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet. You got the microphone, Faith. You
I've been
just
here
you
45
just
years and you're going to attempt to tell me that I don't know nothing. And that's the only reason why I interrupted you, because you're talking to me like I'm some little 20-year-old and I'm not.
no. I'm not talking to you like that, Faith. I'm talking to you as a
Yes, you are
person.
attempting to talk to me like I'm crazy.
All right, let's change the subject because Faith don't want us to speak. She has her conclusion. So, everybody got to decide what they want to do, and for people who are listening, you decide what you want to do in life. You make your decision. The only thing I tell people, just make sure you stick by what your decisions are. Make sure you investigate what you like, what you don't like. A lot of times people will not understand the moves that you make, but they are your moves and you just make them. If it backfires on you, take it on the chin because you're the ones who made that decision. Um, what are your thoughts, NC Worker?
Yeah, I mean, really, that's how it should be mostly. I mean, when it comes to, especially with relationships, because whether or not relationships turns into a marriage or not, it's still a relationship. So the whole goal of the relationship should be you want to have a healthy, good relationship, whether it's sexual or not.
Hmm. Answering the question, somebody said, Mr. Research, what do you want out of women? Uh, so I would prefer my wife be peaceful, manager type of mindset. Um, uh, nothing that's, I kind of self reflect a whole lot. So I was telling the last lady I went out on a date with that I like a lot of self reflection. Like if my lady self reflects, I think we can get somewhere that way. I'm really at peace, and that's really what's going on with me. What are your thoughts, Faith?
Okay, I'm sorry. What was that again?
No, I just asked, what are your thoughts based on what me and NC Worker was saying?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't catch it because I was too busy trying to cut around. I'm driving and
Oh
listening
yeah,
at the
yeah, it's
same
all
time.
good. It's all good. So let me do this follow up question. Um, a lot of times people said, Mr. Research, what do you want in your wife to be? It's more so about peace, manager mindset. I understand people feel how they feel, but I'm not. I don't bring a lot of baggage into relationships. I'm very matter of fact of how things are. I put love as my number one thing, romance as my number two, children as my third. Um, that's how I view it as a guy. But to each their own. I think that everybody has to make their own decisions about how they proceed in life. Um, Cicero says, "I have seen husbands cheat on wives, but I've never seen women cheat." You're not really going to see a lot of women cheat. Women are smarter than guys, and they don't do the stupid things guys do. They just don't. They go have sex in other counties. They drive out to other cities 20, 30 miles away. They'll jump on the airplanes and have a fling. They're not stupid like dudes. What are your thoughts, Faith?
I mean, to be honest with you, I really don't have any thoughts on that at all.
Okay. NC Worker?
I was just gonna say, unless you're the guy who they cheat with, then you see it. But I mean, yeah, you're exactly right because, and then too, we always have this portrayal of women not doing what guys do, but many guys know that a lot of women do more things than what guys do. It's just that because, as you stated, they're a lot more calculated and will take extra steps, whereas we as guys, a lot of times, intellectually speaking, will get lazy and just we'll sleep with the next door
Yeah.
neighbor, things like that.
Yeah, it's so terrible. It really is terrible. I saw one of my friends cheating on his wife. I said, dude, you have a great wife, dude. Don't screw this up, man. You got three boys. Dude, stop that. Stop that, dude. And he called me maybe 8 months later. He said, you was the only one of my friends speaking against what I was doing, man. I need to reinvest in my wife. And I said, well, come with me to the mall. And I took him shopping to look at how I shop for a woman that I'm with that I like to see it and stuff. Like you go to the clearance rack first, you look at different colors and blah blah blah. Then you go to the expensive stuff and you build around what you saw in the clearance rack. And I just got him a different understanding of how to look at clothes on women. And he went to his wife. He said, sometimes I don't need for you to look like the mother of 3 boys. I need for you to look hot. And very next day, she went out running. But then I also told him, you got to give her and this kind of goes to what Faith talking about. You got to give her the avenue to make workout her number one thing, because you working 2 jobs, she working 2 jobs. So he realized that the house was an overextended situation for them, and they downgraded and got normal jobs so that his wife could work out. Faith, you should like that part of it, right?
Yeah, that sounds good. And also, guys, don't mind my tone. This is just how I talk. I got
Oh
like a
no,
little Texas. I got a Texas accent, so I'm not mad at nobody, anything like that. I'm real short with my answers. That's just how I talk.
I've been dealing with you when you had 12 subscribers way back when. I I'm already here. I'm already
Oh,
here.
all
I
right,
used to
yeah,
see.
because I don't want nobody thinking that I'm angry or anything like that, because that's just the pitch of my voice. I can't change it. That's just how I talk for real,
Hmm.
for real. So
Well,
I
well,
try
here's
to,
the thing.
yeah.
Here's the thing. The people in the chat thought you were being combative and disrespectful. Here's one thing we got to learn as guys, and for everybody, guys who saw Faith popping off, and look, check this out. It's if I don't respond, if I don't get upset, there's no argument, gentlemen. Faith gonna believe what Faith gonna believe, and I'm gonna believe what I'm gonna believe, and we gonna leave it at that. You dudes got to stop getting into these arguments with women just because you perceive them as being assholes. You perceive them as being angry, kind of like what Faith said. There's no battle if we don't join, fellas. It's just not. I I'm so confident about what I'm doing. Faith can believe what she want to believe, but the same thing is true if Faith was doing it. I would be like, man, Faith, that sounds like. But Faith know what she doing. She a grown person. So I just want you guys who are fans of mine to understand. And everybody hit the like button right now. Please hit the like button right now. It's 30 of you guys here. Hit the like button. But I just want you guys to understand, if you don't participate in being pissed that somebody's sharing their opinion, just like she said, in a passionate way, she don't mean nothing by it, then guess what, fellas? You're not going to be in an argument, because you should always have the power to walk away. Seriously. But this is just a conversation, fellas. If y'all don't agree, it's just like talking to another brother. I ain't got to force Faith or force NC Worker to agree with me. So don't always get mad at when other people do what they do, because you got the option not to be involved. You really do. NC Worker, what are your thoughts?
I mean, that's the whole purpose of having the dialogue. Besides, it's YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not real life. But anyway, at the end, really, I mean, everyone should have their own different opinions, and that's what makes this so unique, and that's what able to make everything. It may be something that you and I may not agree with, but we may have shown or taught each other something new. So again, it really boils down to respect and also being able to come off the panels and be able to learn something new.
Yeah. And somebody in the chat room said, "Do sugar babies become sugar wives?" That's what I was trying to say earlier. A lot of these dudes end up marrying they quote unquote sugar babies. Uh, it's a totally different thing. There is an element to it that is transactional. I will admit, but there are 3 different versions of this thing, and it's a very unique situation. Just like the seeking arrangement stuff is a very, and you got to understand, these are websites that are costing like $100, $160 a month. These are not websites everybody's just privy to. You know what I'm saying? These are sites where there's a different caliber of lady, but I will admit there are some on there, to Faith's point, that's like, I want money, I want my bills paid up. And it's up for you as a dude whether you entertain that or you like, nah, that's not for me. And the way I use these sites is totally different. Totally different. I haven't given up Money, I don't pay nobody's monthly bills. I don't. I don't. I don't have nobody on monthly retainer, weekly retainer, bi-weekly retainer. No. No.
So these women that are on these sites, is this a dating site or is this a site where women are actually looking for men to, you know, play a sugar daddy role? Because
That's why I was
it's that's
that's
what I'm
why
trying to get you to understand, that if you're on the site and you just met a woman and y'all going out on dates, y'all date.
this is why I was trying to explain to you. You kept interrupting every time. The sugar baby thing is a unique hybrid. It is not what these news people kind of make it out to be. You got three different people. Let's talk about the guys. And I said this to you on D Durrell show, and I'm being consistent. You got three different type of guys. You got insecure dudes with a lot of money. You got dudes who just want their sexual whatever with a lot of money. And then you got guys like me who are like, we'll see what comes of it. We'll get something out of it in the meantime, but we'll see what comes of it. I treat it like a polyamorous site. Polyamorous site has no transactional to it. These are women who just want to screw but don't want to be attached.
But they're not sugar babies. They just hoes.
Again, these are I'm gonna use your terminology. So these are hoes who don't want to be out with the traditional relationship. Let me use your terminology. These are hoes that don't want to be in traditional relationships. Is that better?
I mean, it sounds better because a sugar baby, I mean, to my knowledge, they have a set dollar amount. They are long-term escort prostitutes. They
No.
definitely, that's definitely a transactional thing. But if you're
Mm.
just talking about women on polyamorous sites that just want to hang out and have sex, them just hoes.
Okay. Well, we'll call them hoes. The sugar baby thing is a combination of three elements. It's not just that whole long term pay thing. That's 2012. Don't nobody really get into that. The only people who do that now is guys who are new to those sites and guys who want sex like that. I
But
mean,
what you're describing is no different than the party land, where people just call into the party land to hook up.
and what's the first thing I said though, Faith, when you kept interrupting me? I said there are women on there who don't want to operate in regular relationships. And they're like, these dudes are stable. So I'd rather interact with that. Plus, I like to give head. Plus, I like to do XYZ.
No, no, no. But you were telling me that they were also sugar babies. You were trying to lump them in the sugar baby category, and they can't be lumped in the sugar baby category because they're not asking for any monetary how can I say exchange, for how can I say for your they're not asking for money. You're not trying to give them money for their time and their sex. It's not transactional. So they can't be sugar baby. They can't be put into the prostitute brand. These are just regular people that want to hook up.
And that's why I'm telling you, you're clinging to a 2012, 2013
No,
understanding
I'm
of
not. I am differentiating from what I'm actually talking about because I was talking about sugar babies, okay, and you were trying to tell me these regular people that you hooking up with for no money at all whatsoever are sugar babies, and I said that's a damn lie.
okay. Like I said, it's you know, it's a unique situation. I mean, I can't change how you view sugar baby. You view them as transactional hoes.
That's what it is. That's what a sugar baby is.
Okay, what is a sugar daddy?
A sugar daddy is somebody who's going around paying women for their time and their sex.
So what do you call the guys who don't pay?
They just regular guys going around trying to have sex with women.
So what do you call the guys that don't pay that are in a sugar daddy life?
They can't be a sugar daddy if they're not paying.
My question is, what do you call the guys that don't pay who are in a sugar daddy's life?
How can they be in a sugar daddy life if they're not paying? They not sugar daddy if they ain't paying.
Because
What are they
certain guys,
giving in exchange? What are they giving to be called a sugar daddy?
I'm asking.
That I'm telling. If they
Okay,
ain't giving up the money, they not a sugar daddy.
okay, okay. And if they not taking money, they're not a sugar baby.
Exactly.
They're just
These just
regular people.
these just regular people hooking up having sex. That's
Okay,
the
so
party land.
let's just call it this because I'm glad we having this conversation so I know how to explain it to other people. So on these particular sites, these are regular people hooking up because they don't want to be involved with the regular dating world. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so for the layman people, it is a person. These are people who don't want to be involved with that type of life, so they go to this other type of scenario uh, because of the level of people that they interact with. Let's just call it that. Let's just call it that for the sake of argument. Um, I think what ends up happening though is that we got a lot of stuff going on outside of the black community that I think we sometimes are not aware of. And I have to learn, and I'm glad Faith is challenging me like this. I have to learn to explain it to regular folk because I'm not holier than thou. I'm an ugly dude with a career. That's it. That's all I am. But in being a dude with a career, I don't have to interact with certain things. And that's what these type of scenarios cause. When I go to events, higher level events, it's not that I'm trying to be uppity. It's not that I'm trying to avoid black people. It's a different caliber of conversation. So let me ask you this, and then we're going to go to NC Worker. But Faith, let me ask you this: do you believe that we're getting into classism now? That black women are going to have to deal with caliber of man?
Caliber of man. Explain.
Caliber, class, the class level of a man. Do you
Yeah.
think, because I personally think Faith, and maybe MC Worker will correct me, I don't think there's going to be a lot of white, Indian, or Latin class level men left. I think that because I'm looking at the demographic, especially with 11 million immigrants about to come here, I'm looking at women who are willing to be unhappy. I'm gonna start using your words. Women who are willing to be unhappy for 5, 12 years just to have stability. And they're going to pick the cream of the crop guys. I think by 2023, and NC Worker, mark my words, because we're gonna have this conversation in 2023. I think by 2023, dating is going to be so terrible because all the cream of the crop guys, and I'm not talking money, I'm talking level of class, are going to be swooped up. What are your thoughts, Faith?
I have no idea.
No
I
idea.
mean, because here's the thing. I don't know what's going to happen as far as like all these so-called cream of the crop guys, and you think they're all going to be swooped up and all this type of stuff. I have no idea because you got some of these cream of the crop guys that don't want to marry at all whatsoever. You got a lot of especially the black men. Black men are the last to get married. I mean, they have a whole survey on black men just evading marriage. Period. So
Hmm.
I don't really see them getting swooped up at all.
I hear you. I hear you. Well,
So
we
I
shall
mean,
see.
black women are pretty much going to be faced with the same dilemma we face with now. Men that ain't getting married,
No, I
men
think it'll be worse.
that's not marrying us. I mean, it's the same thing we facing right now. I mean, what are we really missing?
I think it'll be worse. I don't wish it to be worse.
Well,
I
how can
just
it be worse than us not getting married now? But the out of wedlock marriage rate is high. I mean, we not getting rings now. So what are we missing?
Mm. I think we're about to be like Europe. I think America's going to be a lot like Europe. And if you see how many of our black women are in Europe, I think that's going to be happening here. I saw it happen in France. I saw it happen in England. This was 1992, 1993. These are two places that were really black, black, black. And within 1 year, that whole thing changed. And within 2 years, it was everything was mixed, and I was just shocked.
But
But I
yeah, because you got both black men and black women,
true.
self-hating.
Mhm.
We're on the swirl thing.
Mhm. I
So
think I think
you're absolutely right.
I think that's going to happen here. I just because what I'm hearing from Generation Z guys who grew up with black women, many of them, you know, they're getting hypnotized by these other women. MC Worker, what are your thoughts? I don't want to leave you out.
It'll be interesting to see. I can see it, but as far as the whole not being married as of right now, both sides need to look in the mirror, so to speak, and look at themselves as to why they're not being chose and why they're not choosing.
Hmm.
So, and so, if you want to be married, what are some things? What is it that you want from not just from your spouse, but what do you expect out of your own self in the marriage?
What about just cohabitation without the marriage?
Is that familiar for?
Yeah, that's for
Say,
you.
oh, um, I, I guess because the way I was raised with both my parents and they're still married, I've always believed still in the symbolism of marriage. So
Hmm.
I always believed that marriage was like a chord, like three chords. And so when you tie three chords together, it makes them stronger as opposed to just tying the two chords together. So with that symbolization of marriage, it kind of gives like this symbolic, um, this symbolic solidification, if you would, of you two being together. It's like you both are holding each other accountable on document documenting that you both are going to hold each other accountable to stay together. But blah, excuse me, cohabitating is, I mean, to each their own. It's okay. It just depends on sometimes what state you live in because sometimes cohabitating could be just the same as being married. So it just might as well go and get married by that same
Mm,
notion.
right. Well, it is what it is. Well, I hope people have learned something. Let me conclude the title by saying this. Look, uh, there are 20, 30% of women who are great. Whether you disagree with them or not, there's some great people. And I think that when women are, I just hope the best for black women because I really believe that 2023 is going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible for black people. You're probably going to see the end of black families altogether. You're probably going to have to go, they're probably going to have to go to Africa and start up their whole black experience there because this is going to be a trip. This is going to really be a trip with so many immigrants coming up in here. Uh, it's not going to be funny. The pay rates are going to go down. I always said this about the trucking industries too. I know Faith, you in the trucking industry. I, driving trucks is a culture in India. It is a culture. They're already putting up Pakistani food truck stops, Indian food truck stops on some of these routes that Indians drive trucks. I personally see a whole culture shift in the trucking industry, but it may not happen for 10 years. But if they ever get to those brokers, Faith, it might be a wrap. If they get to those brokers and then all those brokers, become Indian brokers or start just giving routes and loads to most of their countrymen, it might be a wrap because black and white people are not united enough to stop illegal. I don't even know if you can call it illegal. Can you, Faith? If 30% of the brokers start becoming Indian and Pakistani and seem to only give routes and loads to their countrymen, there's nothing really black and white people could do to stop it, could it?
Well, you know what? I'm not going to speak on that because I don't know about that. I really
Mm,
don't. Only thing that I can tell you is this. As far as illegal people being in our country and they're doing business and all this type of stuff, we voted for Biden. I think somebody said 90% of black people voted Biden, even though we know that he wrote the crime bill. So at this point, it's
yeah,
not about us being ignorant anymore about, what these Democrats and their policies were like as far as how they affected us as black people. We don't care about the policies and how it affects us as black people. I don't even know what we as a group even want. I don't think we want anything. The only thing that we want to do is make stupid statements and go out and riot and have these little protests and silly stuff. Just silly. I have no idea what we want as a group. So you might be right, but hell, we as black people, we've been at the bottom of the barrel already for a long time, and we ain't trying to climb our way to the top either. So I don't know what no Indians trying to do.
hmm let me answer a question. Somebody said, Mr. Research, do you interact with women like that because of Me Too? So I haven't had an argument since 2004. I I don't put myself in positions with women to have arguments. I try to treat women well. I try to be patient with women, and if it don't work out, I just remove myself. So part of me interacting with these different caliber of women, whether they be hoes, like Faith said, or just regular people, is because uh, I don't need the drama that comes with hookup sex and lower argumentative people. Lower argumentative people, y'all end up getting into some. I just don't. I just don't. So if I pay for a dinner or I go on a trip to Atlanta and somebody comes with me and stays at the hotel that I'm staying at, I don't see that as really paying. If I buy some $300 boots as a gift, you can call that paying, but it's for my pleasure. I like to see the girl in boots. Um, so I don't know, man. I just don't. It's so peaceful for me, and I would prefer to just have one person to deal with. But I'm trying to tell you guys, this it's not a simple thing to just meet because you got some people that hate men. So it's like they want to hurt men, they want to abuse men, and it's like even my own sister, man. My own sister has my brother-in-law is great, freaking outstanding. I can make a movie. This dude, according to her, she don't hit him. He don't hit her. He don't cheat, but she just constantly disrespects this dude, man. And it's like, you know, at the end of the day, she don't like the way my brother-in-law has sex. Now, this is out of her mouth, and because of that, she gives him so much pushback and flack. Faith, what are
Then
your thoughts?
why haven't he left her?
He loves her.
Well, then that's his impact behind. He deserves.
Like I said, guys, we're totally different. We will deal with stuff.
I think part of the reason why, when it comes down to the relationship dynamic, I'm not painting all men this way, but in his case, a lot of men have been taught and raised to just deal with the situation or just deal with the relationship, or because she's a woman. So we've it's been ingrained in a lot of men that men just put up with whatever women give them, regardless of how it makes them feel as a man.
Yeah, Yeah, could be. Faith, what are your final thoughts? I gotta grab me 5 hours of sleep. What are your final thoughts?
Well, I say this for sure. Both men and women don't have any business putting up with nobody's nonsense. I don't care what your sex is. If you're a woman and you're putting up with a man and he's putting you through the ringer, lying, cheating, just being abusive in general, if you stay, you deserve everything you get. And same thing for a man. If your brother-in-law stays with your sister, and your sister may be a very nice person or whatever, but she don't sound like it because she's being terrible to her boy, her husband over some
You,
sex. So
even I had to talk to her about that. I said, "Look, you don't have a lot of men in your life, sis, and I'm trying to tell you, you're
yeah, she
complaining
she she
about that."
deserves a good dumping.
Oh,
Left by herself.
she got
You know,
mad. He finally cheated. When one of the little Mexican girls was touching on the inside of his thigh. He finally, look, after 40 years of marriage, he finally gave in.
yeah, she deserved it.
Crazy. They got two horses, a pool, live on a big ranch. He's the number one guy for his industry in Northern California. She don't appreciate none of that shit.
But he need to go ahead and kick her little behind on out and get somebody that appreciates.
He's
But
too
as
nice
long
to
as he
do. He ain't gonna do it. He ain't
long
gonna
as
do
he there, he deserve everything he gets. She need to just keep on putting her foot in his behind. Find a fool, bump his head, because he must like it.
it. Yeah, he's been in love with her since 17 years old, and
And that's what he get. He like it.
yeah, so it is what it is, man. But MC Worker, what are your last thoughts, man, so I can get to sleep?
My thought is this, when it comes down to it, in reference to the title, we as men got to look out for those who have men's best interests as well as women's best interests. But the ones that have the women's best interests needs to be coincide with those with the men. For those who don't have the best interests of men, they would just need to let them be because they've already shown and have a proven record that they don't care about men. So, I mean, at the end of the day, men, put yourselves first, have a plan, and go with that and be able, excuse me, go with that and be able to have something for yourself. The whole woman aspect come later anyway. As always, thank you for having me on your platform. And have a good night.
Thank you, sir. Shout out to everybody. Thank you for those who did hit the Cash App and those who did hit the like button. I hope you got something out of it. Um, you know, one thing I want you guys to leave with: whatever you decide to be as a man, stand on it. Stand on it. Don't get mad at people who don't agree with your stance, because at some point in time, the one thing women can appreciate about men like myself, we believe what we believe, and we don't have to argue or shout nobody down. uh Faith and I had a good disagreement. I don't have any hard feelings about it, and you guys got to understand that too, man. Don't put yourself in a position to be angry when people disagree with you. As far as my sister, man, my brother-in-law, he's totally different type of dude. Totally different type of dude. That's all I can say. It's totally different type of dude. Yeah, it's totally different type of dude. So, all right, much love, you guys. I'll talk to you next time, and check out some of those videos on Africa and things of that nature. We'll be talking about that again. Much love. Peace.